at the dance. You're right, Cindy. I was being unreasonable, and I see that now. Donna has earned my trust again. She has been a wonderful friend, doing her best to help me cope with your situation. She must have been helpful. Did she ever stay the night? No, that never happened. It would have made sense for her to stay, especially on weekends, but she didn't want any misunderstandings. Donna always went home at night. We hugged as friends, and I may have kissed her cheek a time or two, but that's as far as it went. You can rest easy. Nothing inappropriate happened. Feel free to ask her. I'm sure she would be happy to talk with you. She's not here now because she's giving us time to reconnect. Oh, I'm not jealous. I'm glad she was there for you. I would understand if you had grown closer during that tough time. I'm surprised it didn't happen. You know what I went through while I was away. It feels strange to say, but I feel bad that you didn't have someone close while I was overwhelmed. Cindy, it was hard for me to watch those recordings. They made me feel sick. I cried more than ever while seeing those things. I had to report everything. It felt terrible. What? They told me you would love watching those videos, saying no man could watch that and not be interested. Are you saying you didn't enjoy any of it? She asked, looking shocked. If that's what they told you, they were lying. If it were just you and me, of course I love being close to you. But seeing you with someone else was awful for me. I felt pushed away by it all. I had to disconnect from my feelings to handle watching those clips. There was nothing appealing in them for me. She looked genuinely shocked by my words. I couldn't understand why she believed they said I enjoyed any of it. After dinner, we went to the living room where I sat on the couch. She sat on my lap and hugged me, crying on my shoulder for a long time before she spoke again. They told me that your life would be in danger unless I helped them in ways I never thought possible. I felt I had to protect you this way. It was a matter of life and death, she said, sobbing. It's all right, Cindy. You're home now. I love you, and I'm sorry you were taken from me and hurt. Were you told that I'm expecting a baby? She gave me a weak smile. Yes, I haven't seen the latest video yet, but I learned about your condition at the hospital. What do you think about it? Oh, I could never give up on having this baby. Our child is innocent no matter how they were conceived. You understand that, right? Besides, no other man could be as good a father as you. I want to keep our baby and raise it in a loving home. You won't ask me to give it up, will you? Honey, I would never force you to do something you don't want. This is all a lot for me to handle. Honestly, I can't even say how I feel right now. I'm just so happy to have you back home where you belong. I appreciate what you're saying. I promise to show you how much I love you. I want you to feel that I belong to you again as soon as possible. That means a lot to me. I want to make you as happy as you've made me. If you want to make me happy, Cindy, could you please take off that necklace? Let me help you with it. No, never. This should never be taken off. It's not just a necklace, it's a collar. My master said it shows that he cares for me, she explained quickly. Master? Are you saying that he owns you and that you can't take it off? I could hardly believe what she had said. You don't understand, Micah. Yes, while I was with him, he became my master. He has control over me completely, but he let me come back to you because we both helped him. Just because I'm back here with you doesn't mean he doesn't have a claim on me. He told me to reconnect with you and make you feel appreciated. I am not to deny you anything. Wait a moment. So you still call us husband and wife, yet you say our marriage is somehow less important than his claim over you? Yes, but, I interrupted her. You speak as if our marriage doesn't exist anymore, like we're not together. Don't be silly, Micah. Our marriage is just as it was. I'm still your wife, and you're still my husband. Our relationship hasn't changed at all. The only difference is that, if needed, I will always respond to my master. This doesn't take anything away from you or us. It won't harm our relationship in any way. If anything, it adds to what we share. I want to show you some techniques I've mastered that will surprise you when we are closer. In time, I hope to teach you how to help me reach a special moment like he has, something you've never been able to do. I was told to give you everything, and that's what I plan to do. I was taken aback by her words and decided to ask her more. If you are to give me everything, then let me take off that necklace, I said gently. I'm sorry, but I can't do that. I was told never to let it go. He threatened me if I tried to remove it. I will offer you everything I can, but I can't deny what he has done. Remember what you wrote to me? You said to always do my best and to give everything to him. So that's what I've done. I followed your advice and fully committed to him. He said that what you told me released me from my promises to you and allowed me to be entirely his. It was like a part of me that was hidden came out, and I can't hide it anymore. Can't you understand that? I was shocked. Her captors had really changed how she thought. I expected her to struggle after this, but this was beyond what I could have imagined. But you're back with me now. His threats are empty. He can't control you. I'll keep you safe. He can't hurt you anymore. You'll keep me safe? Really? Like you did when I was taken? He saw me, came and got me, and did what he wanted? Neither you nor the police could stop him. He said he could reach me any time. He has shown he can do anything he wants. Your protection is just a dream, Micah. You need to see that. Her words hit me hard. I couldn't ignore the uncomfortable truth in what she said. She had put me in a difficult spot, and I didn't know how to reply. I chose not to argue with her. I understand. Thanks for your honesty. You really know how to put me down, especially for someone who was taken. You put the blame on me. Thank you for explaining the new lines between us. Lines I can no longer cross because of him. Call me when you're back to normal. Don't think of it that way. I have learned so much. Master convinced me that he taught me things that could make our relationship stronger than ever before. I want to show you what I've learned so we can be closer than we were before. Let's make the most of our time together, especially before the baby arrives. It's too soon for me, Cindy, I replied, feeling a weight in my chest. I've spent hours watching those horrible videos of what happened to you. Those images are stuck in my mind. I was just doing what you told me to do in your Facebook post. How can you push me away when I followed what you asked? Be honest, Micah. Didn't it affect you even a little, seeing me experience something new? Didn't it excite you? Not at all. Watching those things made me sick. I threw up more than once and couldn't eat. I never felt anything but disgust the entire time. Seeing what they did to you was terrible. The only thing worse would have been if they physically hurt or killed you. The thought of it all has left me emotionally wrecked. If I knew who did this to you, I'd want justice he wouldn't deserve to live. But that's not what I was told. Master said you wanted it to happen. He said your Facebook post meant you were enjoying watching me. He lied to you, Cindy. Everything he said was a lie. I only made that post because he threatened your life if I didn't. I'd never want any of that. And when he's caught, I hope justice is served. You can't mean that. He's a great man, a wonderful person in every way. He made me feel special, everything a woman could want. If that's true, then why didn't you stay with him? Why come back here if you think so highly of him? She looked down, avoiding my gaze. It wasn't possible for him to keep me long term. Besides, I realized that my love for you grew stronger during this time apart. I want us to raise our baby together, Micah. I've learned to be a better wife, and I want to show you. Just relax, and let me take care of everything. I'm not arguing with what you believe, Cindy, but I can't pretend everything's okay. It's like trying to swim against the tide. I fought to hold back my sadness. I could see she had been manipulated and wasn't herself anymore. Under normal circumstances, I would have told her to leave after what she just said. But given how unusual things were right now, I chose to ignore her wild thoughts and stay calm. A long time ago, I learned that arguing with someone unreasonable only brings you down to their level, and then they beat you with their experience. Cindy, I know you mean well, but I'm having trouble understanding you. We're not thinking the same way. The main thing is that you're home now. I'll take you to see the doctor tomorrow for your first appointment. For now, let's not rush things. You need time to heal from this. I appreciate that, Micah, but I really need us to be close again soon. I want to share everything I've experienced. Can't you see that? Being close isn't going to happen for a while, Cindy. We have more important things to deal with right now. You've had tests done, but until we get all the results back, I can't take any chances. I'm sure you trust those people from before, but I don't. You can have the master bedroom. I'll stay in the spare room for now. No, that won't work. I need us to be close again soon. I'm sorry, Cindy, but that's not going to happen. I'll let you know when we might be able to be together again. Right now, we need to make sure you're okay emotionally. That's what your doctor is for. She started crying again and ran up to her room. Her mind is all over the place. Although she is home, she isn't the same woman I used to know. I hope the doctor has a good plan to help her get back to who she was before. I left her to her thoughts and went to the kitchen. Donna had kept it nice and clean, and I wanted to respect her hard work by keeping it that way. I took a shower in the hall bathroom and watched some TV before heading to bed in the spare room. Early in the morning, I realized I was dreaming about something strange. When I woke up to find it wasn't a dream, I quickly moved away. Cindy seemed determined to be close to me even when I didn't want that. "What are you doing, Cindy? It's the middle of the night. I thought I made it clear that I wasn't ready for this." She smiled at me. "Maybe you say that, but your body seems to be saying something else." She tried to get closer again. I moved even further away. "If you don't stop that and go back to your room, I'll find a hotel for the night. Is that what you want?" "Of course not, sweetie. What I want is right here with you. Choose. Either go back to your room now or make me leave for the night. What's it going to be?" "Fine. Do it your way," she said, showing her frustration. "Can't you see I'm just trying to connect with you again and get you to recognize how much I care? I'm here, Cindy. It's your choice." She left the room in anger, slamming the door behind her. I made a mental note to get new locks for the spare bedroom and bathroom doors. The next morning, I drove her to her appointment with the psychiatrist at 11 a.m. I waited for her in the lobby. At noon, he suggested that he was still figuring things out and hoped to share more after her session on Friday. I took Cindy out for lunch, but she didn't mention her meeting, and I didn't want to push her to talk unless she felt ready. When we got home, Cindy started wearing very revealing clothes, trying to catch my attention. It was the first time I had seen her almost bare since she came back. She had marks on her body that annoyed me instead of attracting me. It was easy to ignore her attempts to get closer. Whenever we passed each other, she would reach out, but to let her know I wasn't interested, I opened both the front and back doors. All that was left were transparent storm doors, so anyone could peek inside. I also opened all the curtains and shades in the house, which frustrated her. She kept trying, but it was too soon for me to forget everything that had happened. We asked the school for more time off to help her adjust back to a normal life. On Friday, after her appointment, the doctor came to speak with me. "Mr. Albright, could you join Cindy and me for a few minutes? I have some important information to discuss." I nodded and stepped inside with them. "Thank you for coming, Mr. Albright." "I'm here to support Cindy, Doctor." "I'm glad to hear that, Mr. Albright." "Please call me Micah. Mr. Albright is my father's name." "Of course, Micah, thank you. Normally I follow strict rules about patient privacy. However, Cindy has asked me to share my thoughts with you. As I mentioned at the hospital, she shows all the signs of a condition known as Stockholm Syndrome. This is a psychological reaction to being in a difficult situation where someone has been held against their will. People with this condition often develop feelings for their captors and start to see them in a sympathetic light. This reaction can also happen in other troubling situations where there's a bond formed between someone in a position of power and the person who feels powerless. It is a way for someone in a tough situation to cope. Many doctors believe that when a person has positive feelings for someone who mistreats them, it is a protective reaction. This helps them deal with days, weeks, or even months of distress. I have been learning about Stockholm Syndrome since you brought it up. I can see how she might feel that way, considering what she's been through and how long she was held. That's great, Micah. But there is another psychological aspect at play which is called trauma bonding. Oh? Stockholm Syndrome and trauma bonding share some similarities. The loyalty that captives feel for their captors is very similar to the loyalty that people in harmful relationships feel for those who mistreat them. They often find ways to justify and accept their dangerous situation, which is a key indicator of a trauma bond. For Stockholm Syndrome to occur, a person needs to be held captive and rely on their captor for their survival. They must be isolated and only see things from the captor's viewpoint during the entire crisis. The captor might threaten their life, and during this, the hostage may see some actions as kind, even if that kindness is misunderstood. In trauma-bonded relationships, victims often depend on their abuser not for their life, but to understand what is real. It is also common for those in these relationships to be cut off from friends and family. Cindy said her captors warned her that your safety would also be at risk unless she cooperated fully. She thought she had to protect you the best way she could. I understand what you are saying, Doctor. I hadn't thought about it like that, I replied. I doubt you would know this unless you worked in my area. Sadly, there's more in your wife's situation. Lastly, victims in trauma-bonded relationships can be tricked into seeing abuse as true love or caring. She has likely developed good feelings for those who have mistreated her and even called one of them her master. She feels sympathy for their beliefs and actions and has negative feelings toward anyone who challenges her views, even your relationship with her. In addition to her diagnosis and the emotional bond she has formed, I can say with certainty that she shows signs of a strong emotional connection to you. I've never heard of that before, Doctor. What does that mean? It's similar to Stockholm Syndrome, but less widely known because of its emotional aspects. This happens when a patient feels romantic or affectionate feelings towards their therapist. This idea goes back to Freud, who suggested that some patients may develop these feelings due to the therapy setting rather than the therapist's personality. Later on, experts talked about two types. One includes feelings that are unrealistic, and the other is a stronger pattern where the patient may show deeper emotional responses. How does this apply to her? She's just met you recently. I apologize if I caused confusion. In Cindy's case, she has told me that you both have shared a close relationship. I believe that being affectionate is healthy in a marriage. For her, love and closeness are linked. When her captor forced her into close situations, she began to connect those feelings of love with those experiences. The emotional connection helps explain how she feels about you, and even how she views her past experiences. It sounds like she has shared a lot with you. That's good to know. Yes, she is quite open about her feelings. What is the treatment to help her feel better? As her therapist, my job includes talking sessions and medication if needed, and we have started that already. But the main reason I wanted you here today is to ask for your help in her recovery. What can I do, Doctor? I don't have your knowledge and training. I understand. I'm not asking you to be her therapist at home. You can assist her in another important way. She is showing clear signs of her struggles, and the combination of these issues is concerning. She fits all the signs of emotional distress, which means it may take time to guide her back to feeling like herself again. One way you can help is through your emotional closeness as a couple. You mean being close? I asked quietly as Cindy smiled widely but stayed silent. That's exactly right, Micah. But before you say anything, let me explain a bit. Sure. Cindy has filled me in on all your talks with her about this. I understand why you might be hesitant to get close again after seeing so many hours of her involved with her captors. Your feelings are partly because you want to protect yourself emotionally, given the unusual situation she's in. It's not unusual to feel that way, and I get it. Still, if you want to, you can choose to work through your hesitation to help her heal faster. She mentioned that you think she should have known that your Facebook message telling her to accept her situation was made out of fear for her life. I don't think that's fair to her. Imagine being in her place for a moment. At first, she was trying to resist him, even risking her own life. She was trying her best to stay loyal to you, even if it hurt her in the end. I was surprised by this realization. I had never thought of it that way before, I admitted. That's exactly my point. She felt like death was the only choice she had. Then you reached out to her with your message. She couldn't know for sure that you weren't forced to send those words. She saw your message as a sign that you cared about her, and that you would support her no matter what. You weren't there with her. You didn't experience what she did. To her, it felt like you understood and were letting her know it was okay to follow what her captors wanted. Cindy looked at me, hoping I would understand. He continued, given her intense emotions, can you truly blame her for thinking oddly? If you were in her situation with everything at stake, would you really be calm and make fully rational choices? You've given me a lot to think about, and I can't argue with what you've explained. But my feelings aren't just about seeing her with other men. One big issue for me is that she said her duty to him comes before any promises she made to me. She follows his wishes, like how he wants her to look and behave. She told me that the only reason she wants to be close to me again is because he asked her to. She never mentioned wanting it for herself, only that he wanted her to show me what he had taught her. And then there's the fact that she is expecting a child from her captor. All of those things are difficult for any man to accept, Doctor. Cindy's expression turned sad once more. Micah, I understand your pain and I appreciate what you've shared. If you let me, I'd like to share one more thought before I leave you to think. I noticed that you have started to see some light regarding the Facebook problem. Think of all the issues you've talked about today as different ingredients for a cake that has already been made. You've begun to accept some parts of what we discussed, and that's a good thing. For the other problems you mentioned, see them as ingredients you don't like that are already in the cake. It's impossible to take out the individual ingredients after it's been baked. It might not be your favorite, but you can still enjoy the cake. Neither of you chose these ingredients. Someone else did. But this is what you have now. You blame her for the choices, but both of you share the result. Yes, there are outcomes to actions, and as difficult as they may seem, you have to face some of them together. We can't change the past, but we can decide what we will do next. I'd be lying if I said you haven't helped me, Doctor. Thank you for your clear and helpful insights. You've opened my eyes to new ways of looking at things. If you and Cindy can be patient with me, I need some time to think about this. I won't dismiss anything right away. I might come around in a week or two. Does that sound fair? That sounds more than fair to me, Micah. Cindy got up quickly and hugged me tightly, tears of happiness streaming down her face. On the way home, Cindy said, I talked to Donna this morning and asked if the four of us could go out this weekend, both Friday and Saturday nights. I feel stuck at home until things get better between us. I need a change of scenery, Micah. With Jack back home now, Donna mentioned she wants to celebrate his success. How can I say no? Jack and Donna are our best friends, and they really supported me while you were away. If you truly feel ready for this, then I'm all for it. I really need this, Micah, thank you. Donna said they would pick us up at 7:30 on the way to the club tonight. I can't wait to spend time with them again. At home, Cindy stopped her earlier efforts to get closer. I figured the doctor had encouraged her to give me space to think about everything. Jack was very happy that Cindy had returned to me safe and sound. I told them that she was getting help to cope with her time away, but I didn't go into detail about how it affected our marriage. After dinner, Jack complimented Cindy on her lovely new necklace. She smiled but didn't explain what it meant to us. Then Jack invited Cindy to dance, which left Donna with me. I felt comfortable asking her to dance. It seemed that Cindy was happy to get attention from Jack, while I was still trying to understand her new feelings. As Donna and I danced, I felt she noticed my concern for Cindy. We both hoped that spending time with Jack on the dance floor would help Cindy feel more like herself again. I felt calm with Donna beside me. She had been a wonderful friend, and there were no awkward comments or actions from either of us. On the drive home, Cindy was very cheerful. I didn't want to ruin her mood by bringing up the fact that she avoided dancing with me, so I stayed quiet. The same thing happened the next night. Donna and I decided to stay at the table and talk instead of chasing our partners around the dance floor. We both thought that Jack's fun spirit would be good for my wife. I didn't share the worries I had about my relationship with Cindy with Donna. On Monday, I went back to work while Cindy stayed home to meet with her therapist. When I got home that day, she was waiting for me. What is this, Micah? She asked. I'm not sure. Why don't you tell me? I replied, curious. It's a letter and a check from the art gallery. I called them today. They told me that 28 of my paintings sold while I was away. They also said that you refused the payments. Can you explain? She said, sounding upset. I can. When you were taken, I wasn't ready to handle the gallery business. Money wasn't my main concern. Getting you back safely was all I could think about. I feared you might never return. In many cases like this, things don't end well. I thought your art would lose value if something happened to you. So I returned everything in hopes that you would find good news when you got back. I wanted this to be a bright moment for you after such a tough time, I explained, not sharing the troubling thoughts that lingered in my mind. Her anger faded and she looked excited. I don't completely agree with what you did, but I see where you're coming from. I had a long conversation with them today. They told me that 28 of my paintings sold for $2,300 each, making a total of $64,400. After taking away their fee of $500 for each painting, that leaves us with $50,400. Isn't that great? Sure. If you're happy, then I'm happy. What do you want to do with your money? It's our money, silly. They're sending me one check for everything. They weren't happy with your attempts to stop the money transfer. Now we can go on a nice vacation, get some things for the house, or buy new cars. We have so many choices." She was really excited. "Cindy, I'm proud of you. You worked hard for that money. I think you should treat yourself. We've talked about getting you a new car, but we haven't had the money. Why not use it for that? We can start looking right away. But I want us to enjoy it together. Sure, I'd love a new car, but I want us to benefit from it too. If I made money from my paintings, I thought it would be our success together. Getting a new car would help both of us. Most husbands want the best for their wives. If you get a new car, you wouldn't have to worry about it breaking down. It will need less maintenance, which means it will save us money and give me peace of mind. It's good for both of us." Cindy looked at me in a way that showed she was surprised I wasn't eager to spend the money on myself. "Do you have a problem with spending this on you? Can I ask a few questions first?" "Sure. Who bought your paintings? Was it one person or many people?" "The art gallery said one person bought them all." "I see. Do you know who that person is?" "No, the gallery only said the buyer wanted to stay anonymous. Sometimes people choose not to reveal their identity, and we have to respect that. Why do you ask?" "Just a couple more questions. How many paintings have been sold so far?" "They told me 28 of my artworks were sold." "And how many of those sold before you were gone?" "None that I know of." "And how many sold since you came back home?" "I'm not sure if any more have been sold, but that doesn't mean nothing is happening." "Normally, I would agree with you, but in this case, something seems off." "What do you mean?" "You were gone for 28 days, and exactly 28 paintings were sold. None sold before you were gone, and none after you returned. Connecting the dots between the buyer's choice for confidentiality and your kidnapping might make a sensible person think there is a link between the two and your artwork sale." "What? That's absurd. Why would someone who kidnapped me want to buy my paintings?" "I'm only guessing here, but what if your kidnapper wanted to make up for your time with him to ease his own feelings? Maybe he thought it would help replace the income you lost, or even provide support for his child. There could be many reasons," I suggested, "for wanting to pay you for your troubles. Are you saying I'm something I'm not just because someone anonymous admired my art and bought it? Sure, the timing may be odd, but you're being unreasonable." "You asked why I have doubts about the money. I answered honestly. I never said you had to agree. But if there's even a small chance of a connection, I want every dollar spent on you. You deserve that. You created the paintings on your own. You earned it, so you should enjoy the benefits. This money is as much yours as it is mine. I want it to be shared between us. It's important to me that we both gain from it. How about this? I'll take some time to figure out how we can use it together. For now, I'll just deposit it." "That's okay, as long as it's in an account that's only in your name. But honestly, don't expect any of it to be spent on me." She was upset by my answer, tears in her eyes, and then she left the room. The next morning I got ready for work on time. Cindy had made breakfast for me, which was unusual on a weekday. Maybe it was because she hadn't gone back to her teaching job yet. Full and satisfied, I got into my car and headed to work. As I was leaving, Cindy was still tidying up the kitchen. I remembered the doctor's advice about our closeness. While I thought about it, I suddenly realized I had left my briefcase in the spare bedroom where I had stayed the night. I brought it in to look over some cases I needed to review. I quickly turned around and went back inside the house. As I came through the garage door, I saw the kitchen was clean. Cindy must have been upstairs getting dressed. To reach the spare bedroom, I had to walk past the master bedroom. The door was slightly open. Normally, I wouldn't have paused, but I heard her talking on the phone. I guessed she was calling Donna or someone from her job. Curiosity, they say, can lead to trouble, and I've always been a curious person. I paused for a moment to listen. As usual, she was on speakerphone. "I thought I told you not to call me on your burner phone unless it was important." "This is important. I really need to talk to you." "Hang on. I'm at work, so let me step outside to talk," the voice replied. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. My wife was using a burner phone to call Jack, my best friend? Where did this phone come from? When did she get it? Did he give it to her when they were dancing the other night? Why was she calling him? None of this made sense. Jack never mentioned that he was giving any advice to Cindy. What was happening? She didn't know I was there. I decided to stay quiet and listen, hoping to get some answers. Since she was on speakerphone, I realized I could record their conversation. I started my phone's video recording app and pointed it at her. All I could see was her back as she sat on the bed facing away from the door. This was clearly a conversation she didn't want me to hear, and I had a feeling Jack didn't want me to either. After about a minute and a half, Jack spoke up again. "Okay, I'm here. What's so important that you called me like this? Oh, it's so nice to hear from you. I'm really missing you. What's going on? Are you sure Micah isn't around? Oh, he left for work a while ago. I watched him drive away and waited a few minutes before calling you. I tried not to reach out like this, but after seeing you and dancing this weekend, I really want to be with you again. I miss your touch. When we danced, I felt a strong need to be close to you." Jack laughed softly. "You have no idea how close I was to wanting you with me right there on the dance floor. I would have done anything for you. I know, but we have to be careful. I don't want my unaware wife and your husband to find out about us. Remember, the goal is for us to swap partners over time. I can get Donna to do what I want, but Micah is harder to convince. I would have thought that seeing us together would have gotten to him at least a little. But Donna promises me it's true. Looking back, I'm not sure making Micah watch all those videos was a good idea." "Don't worry, Cindy. If we want him to join us in partner swapping, those videos should have sparked his interest in what it could be like. I'll persuade Donna to help when the time is right, but we need to focus on Micah. He must have been intrigued seeing you in those moments, even with another man. Let's give him more time." "I'm not saying I disagree, but so far it seems to have pushed him away from me instead. It's driving me crazy. You really ignited my passion during that month we spent together. But he's so turned off by the videos that he won't even hug or kiss me. He keeps asking for time. I might go mad before he comes around. You've taught me so much that I want to share with him, but he's so distant. I need you by my side again, Jack. I can't handle this without your love for much longer. I know you want me to be with him more, but how can I do that if he won't let me close?" I tried to get close to him when I first returned, but he pushed me away and locked the door. I was hoping he could help me, but you're the last person I was with. If I don't get close to someone soon, I feel like I might fall apart. I was stunned from the start. My mind kept working on its own, but I felt numb and detached from what I had just heard. A deep sadness sat heavily in my heart. The love I once felt for her faded away. Gradually, this sadness grew so overwhelming that it felt like waves crashing in my chest. Sadly, I think I underestimated how resistant he is. I was told that Esmeralda, the escort I hired, always succeeds. I was shocked when she called to say that she couldn't get through to him at all. It cost me quite a bit. But don't worry, my dear, I have a backup plan that should win him over. How are things with the psychiatrist? I'm really grateful for the books you gave me during your meetings. The stories about people who were abducted and the effects they faced helped me get the doctor to understand what was going on. Did Micah believe the story about the swimsuit and sun lamp? Of course. You told me to convince him, and I did. Micah would be very upset to learn that I spent many days by the hotel pool while you were busy with your meetings. I mostly read and studied books. The psychiatrist is even trying to convince Micah to spend time with me again. But Micah asked for one more week or two to get used to the idea. I can't wait that long. Please tell me you will help us meet again. I want to make you happy more than ever, she urged. Let me see what I can do. Has Micah heard anything from the police about your supposed kidnapping? Not a word. They have no leads and no idea that we planned my disappearance. That's good. It was the best way I could think of to make Micah pay attention to me without any trouble for either of us. Cindy praised. I thought it was clever to have Anthony fly back to town to bring the signed documents to the office. This way he could upload the videos to the cloud here, making the police believe I was being held nearby. Thanks. I really didn't want to share you with Anthony, but I needed him to help out and stay quiet. I couldn't have done it without his skills with the camera and editing. I get why you involved Anthony. I didn't mind as long as you were there with me. What confuses me is that Micah said he watched all our time together but insists he wasn't interested at all. It's so frustrating. I know, but I promise you that he'll come around. He and Donna became close while we were away. She might succeed in getting him to see things differently next time. Has Micah mentioned anything about the account number of the person buying your paintings? No, he doesn't know about your secret hint regarding the account, or that the number is actually a code spelling out Jack loves Cindy. It would upset him so much to find out. Your creativity amazes me, she chuckled. Jack laughed. That's our little secret. Did he believe your crying act when he first saw you in the hospital? Of course. The only way I could cry so much was by feeling how much I missed you and not knowing when I could see you again. I miss you too. I promise, Micah will come around. It will just take a little more time. I believe you. You always seem to know what to do. Do you think maybe on Wednesday, after my psychiatrist appointment, we can meet at my house or a hotel to satisfy my need to be with you? I'll see what I can set up. In the meantime, something else came to mind that I want you to do for me, he said. Anything, just tell me, she responded. Do you still have that little plastic bottle I filled before we left for our month-long trip? He asked. Yes, it's still hidden in the back of our freezer. Micah has no idea it's there, she replied. Good. I want you to make Micah's favorite dessert, hummingbird cake. Thaw out the bottle and mix it into the cake batter while you bake. I want you to be the one to serve it to him. Over time, I promise, things will change. He'll come around to everything. Cindy laughed at the idea. I can't wait. It'll be so satisfying to watch him eat it without knowing. You always have the best ideas. Speaking of which, how is our baby coming along? Are you taking good care of it? Oh, yes. Micah knows I'm never giving up the baby, she said confidently. Good girl. I'll update you about Wednesday. Keep the phone nearby. I'm already excited just thinking about it, she said. Their conversation was winding down, and I couldn't believe what I had overheard. I wanted to confront them right then, but I held back. My instinct screamed at me to take drastic action, but I knew that would lead to my own downfall. I quickly left the house without even grabbing my briefcase. I'd call her later and ask her to bring it to me at the office. The betrayal by both my wife and my supposed best friend was a heavy blow. My head was spinning, consumed by anger and disgust. I had 4 court cases to handle that day, ones that had already been delayed twice. I couldn't bring myself to ask for another postponement, so I forced myself to focus on my work. Tomorrow, with no commitments, I'd have time to gather my thoughts. For now, I had to push through, though the pain of what I had just discovered weighed heavily on me. Fortunately, my work cases were clear and ended on a good note, which lifted my spirits a bit. I texted Cindy. I have a dinner meeting after work with a new client's family to gather some information. Don't worry about dinner for me tonight. Cindy. I understand, sweetheart. Please save room for dessert. I made something special for you to enjoy when you get home. Please hurry. I had an idea of what she had in mind. On one hand, I was grateful to have overheard a conversation that helped me today. On the other hand, I felt crushed. It was like I couldn't catch my breath. I had lied to her. There was no meeting. I was going to eat alone to deal with my feelings of hurt and betrayal. I felt an anger I had never experienced before. I had never been more hurt in my life. Somehow I would make Jack pay for breaking our friendship and for taking my wife's love. I wasn't sure how I would do this, but I was starting to think of some strong ideas. Cindy also needed to face some consequences. I just needed time to figure out a plan that wouldn't get me into trouble. When I got home, she was dressed nicely and showering me with affection. Honey, I know that hummingbird cake is your favorite, and I haven't made it for you in a while. I worked on this all day to make it perfect for you. Why don't you sit in the den while I bring you a big piece? I've already turned on your favorite channel. I tried to smile and appreciate her efforts as I followed her cue. She brought me a tray with a cold Coke and a large slice of the cake I enjoyed so much. I took a sip of the Coke, then picked up a big bite of the cake with my fork. Just as I was about to take a bite, I sniffed it. Then I sniffed it again. Is something wrong, sweetie? I promise it's fresh, not bought from a store. Go ahead, try it, she encouraged. It smells a bit off, I replied, still sniffing. I know this might sound strange, but it has an odd scent. Did you change the recipe? What? That's ridiculous. I swear it's the same recipe I always use, she replied, looking nervous. She walked over, took my fork, and smelled it herself. Honey, I don't know what you mean. I can't smell anything different. It's the same as always. Just take a bite and you'll see, she urged. Cindy, I'm sorry. I just can't eat anything that smells like that. Maybe you can't smell it, but it's really strong and off-putting to me. On the bright side, the Coke seems fine, so I'll keep that. But please take the cake away. I'm sorry you worked hard for nothing. Maybe you could give the cake to Jack and Donna the next time we see them, I suggested. She was very upset with me and went back to the kitchen with the cake, obviously frustrated. I laughed quietly when she was out of sight. I could hear her toss the whole cake in the trash, mumbling to herself. I knew she wouldn't really try to serve Jack anything strange. I didn't smell anything unusual in the cake, but my reaction seemed to really bother her. After all, I was meant to be the only one receiving Jack's attention. My refusal made the cake feel useless to her. I could tell she was curious about my suddenly strong sense of smell, something I hadn't shown before. One clear decision I made was to end things with Cindy in the easiest way for me, both financially and emotionally. Normally, I would turn to Jack and Donna for help with a tough situation like this. But Jack was part of my problem just as much as Cindy was. I couldn't talk to Donna because she might act too quickly before I had my plan ready. Like me, they had kept her in the dark. I couldn't just cut Jack out of my life, though. He wouldn't really suffer from my absence. I wanted him to feel the same hurt I felt. I needed to think carefully about how to respond. I decided to keep my knowledge of their betrayal to myself until I figured out what I wanted to do. Cindy didn't bother me the rest of the evening, and I was glad. To handle my feelings, I played 3 songs on repeat. Colder Than Winter by Vince Gill, It Must Have Been Love by Roxette, and Roxanne by The Police. Listening to them over and over was somehow soothing. Late Tuesday afternoon, I texted Cindy to say I needed to work late again and would just order a sandwich delivered to my office. I wasn't going to risk being caught off guard again. My trust in Cindy had completely vanished. I expected she would be annoyed when I got home, but instead, she seemed happy about something. I guessed that Jack must have planned a visit for them on Wednesday. "I'm sorry you had to work late, dear, but I have some good news," she said. "Oh?" "Donna called just a little while ago. She wants to know if we can meet them again tomorrow evening. Spending time with them last weekend really helped me, as you know. They will come by and pick us up again. I can't wait to see them. You've been a bit boring lately, so I really need this. Please don't plan to work late tomorrow. Be home by 6:30 at the latest, so they can pick us up at 7. Okay, dear?" "Sure, Cindy, I wouldn't miss it. I love spending time with our best friends." "Oh, good. I'll be really anxious all day tomorrow until they arrive." "That sounds nice. I'm going to take a shower and get some rest. I'm tired. Tomorrow should be interesting, as you say." After that, she didn't bother me again for the rest of the night, probably eager to see Jack again. I didn't care anymore. She could spend time with anyone she wanted, and it wouldn't bother me. Wednesday turned out to be a busy day for me. I managed to gather my thoughts about how to handle the 2 people who had let me down. One thing was clear. I didn't want to sit across from Jack while he made jokes about being with my wife. One task I completed was dealing with a conversation I had recorded. I saved it onto a USB device and uploaded it to a private cloud account I had just set up. For safety, I wouldn't tell anyone about the account. I didn't delete the recording from my phone yet because I planned to use it soon. After work, I went to a restaurant to grab a bite to eat. At 6:30, I missed a call from Cindy. She followed up with 4 texts and another call in the next 15 minutes. Eventually, at 6:45, I called her back. "Hi, Cindy." "Micah, where are you? Why have you been ignoring my calls? Jack and Donna will be here any minute. I hope you'll arrive soon," she said urgently. "I'm sorry, Cindy. I haven't been ignoring you. I've been talking back and forth with my sister Paula. Their close friends are at the hospital having their first baby, and they need Paula and Harold there. My parents are on vacation and can't find a babysitter on such short notice. They need someone they trust to watch their kids, and who better than their uncle?" "What? Are you serious? You're leaving your wife and your friends to babysit?" "They don't have anyone else, Cindy. Harold even tried calling some of his work friends but had no luck. I feel like I need to help them. She's my sister, and I want to be there for them. Besides, you don't really need me there tonight, do you? We spent time with them last weekend. You can go without me. I might have to stay at Paula's depending on how things go with the baby." "Come on, Micah. You're always being the good guy. I guess I can't stop you, but I swear it won't be the same without you. You probably won't even notice I'm not there. You'll be busy having fun with Jack anyway. Enjoy yourself," I said before ending the call. I knew my absence wouldn't change their plans. It was all part of a bigger plan. I was really going to visit my sister, but mostly to see a happy family and remind myself that a good family could still exist with the right people. Before I shared my story, I asked them to keep it secret. After the kids went to sleep, the 3 of us talked about how to handle the situation we were facing. I was pleasantly surprised by some of the great ideas they came up with. I spent the night there and went to work on Thursday morning in the same suit. I was eager to put my plan into action. To make it work well, I needed help from others. Donna was the first person I thought of. I called her around midday and asked if she could meet me for lunch at a restaurant on the edge of town. I requested that we have a 2-hour lunch, including travel time. I also asked her to keep our lunch a secret. If she told Jack or Cindy, I would just cancel. She promised me she wouldn't say anything, and I believed her. She asked what it was about, but I asked her to wait. I got there early and sat at a quiet booth in a corner, away from most other diners. When she arrived, we ordered our lunches and made small talk. After our waitress left, Donna got right to the point. "Okay, Micah, what's with all the mystery? Does this have to do with your absence last night? You were missed, by the way." "Thanks for meeting me, Donna, but no, this doesn't relate to last night." "Then what is it? It's driving me crazy trying to figure you out today." "Donna, we have been friends for years. I care for you like a sister and a best friend. I never want anything bad to happen to you. Before I say more, I need you to promise me that what I am going to tell you will stay between us. Just you and me. You can't tell Jack or Cindy or anyone else. It could cause problems, and I wouldn't want that for you. So do you trust me enough to promise that without knowing the details yet? I'm here for you, and if I didn't care, I wouldn't have reached out." She looked at me, unsure. "So you want me to keep a big secret from my husband and one of my best friends just like that, without knowing what it is?" "Yes, Donna. I'm asking this because you are my closest friend. I want to protect you as best I can, but I need your help. You supported me when Cindy was away, and now I'm trying to return that support." She stared at me, trying to figure out if I was serious. She showed a strong determination. "If I know one thing about you, Micah, it's that you keep your promises. If it were anyone else, I would dismiss them, but I trust you to keep this between us for now. You have my word." I smiled and touched her hand, glad we had made it past this first step. I placed a stack of tissues on the table and handed her a pair of Bluetooth headphones. "Here, put these on. I'm sorry to put you through this, Donna, but it's necessary. I have a recording on my phone that I want you to hear. Please listen to all of it without stopping, and we'll talk after." She nodded. I pressed play and gave her my phone so she could control the volume. In just a couple of minutes, tears were flowing down her cheeks. They didn't last long, though. Soon I saw anger in her eyes. She managed to listen to the whole recording before gently putting the headphones down on the table. The waiter brought our drinks and food. We both took a sip but avoided eating for now. "There's no question that's Jack's voice. I can see Cindy talking to him in this recording. But how can we be sure this isn't just some cruel trick? How do I know it's true? Can we confirm this any other way besides this recording? 2 marriages are on the line here, Micah. This is serious. How did you get this recording?" "I came home one morning after leaving for work because I forgot my briefcase. As I walked by the bedroom, I heard her talking to Jack. I stood by the door and recorded what you just heard on my phone. I promise this is real, and I can show you more proof if you want. As much as I might not want to see it, I need clear proof before I can act on what I've heard today. Please show me," she said firmly. "The proof I have is something only you can judge. It's going to get very personal, but it's the only way I know how to show you. You've seen Jack many times before. I believe you would recognize him. What I'm about to show you is part of a recording where Cindy is with the kidnapper. You can watch it for as long as you need. The only clear part is the kidnapper's identity. Tell me, Donna, is this Jack in the video?" I started playing a video recording. As soon as Donna saw the defining features, I noticed her catch her breath. "That man! That unfaithful jerk!" She put my phone on the table and started crying. I moved closer in the booth and gently put my arm around her to comfort her. "I can't believe they would do this to me, to us. So my awful husband spent a whole month with my best friend and now she's having his baby? We've talked about starting a family. I've always wanted kids and he chooses her for his first child. It's unbelievable. I feel so angry at both of them. This really hurts, Micah. He has been unkind to her. Has Jack ever acted this way before?" She wiped her tears and said, "He's always paid a lot of attention to Cindy. I even offered to change myself to make him happy, but he said it wouldn't be the same. So he must have convinced her to go along with this. Jack always acts like he's in charge. He pretty much told me to flirt with you that night when we danced. He wanted me to propose a change that he wanted so you wouldn't see what he was really doing. He's made a lot of comments about Cindy that you never knew. He insisted I keep quiet about his feelings for her. Well, I guess that explains why. But the truth is that both of them have betrayed us. They staged everything just for their own fun. I don't want this to affect your decisions, Donna, but I've decided I will end my marriage with Cindy when the time is right. After learning the truth about their lies, I can't stay with her. You need to decide what you want to do about Jack. I noticed her looking upset. I don't need time to think. I've been a good wife and gave him everything, and this is how he treats me? I want to end things with him, Micah. I want him out of my life. I'm sad to say, but that's what I wanted to hear. But if we both leave our spouses right away, they will just be happy together with their child and use all our savings for it. She looked thoughtful. You're right, but what else can we do? As much as I'd like to see them pay for this, I don't want us to end up in trouble. That's why I wanted to talk to you today. Unlike Jack and Cindy, neither of us has ever been unfaithful. We are on the same side. I've thought of a plan to handle this, but we need to work together. You have an important part in bringing them down, but I can't share all the details right now, not because I don't trust you, but to keep you safe. I want you to be in a good place once everything is settled. But I need to ask, Donna, after what you learned today, do you still trust me? Trust you? Right now, you are the only person I trust with my life, Micah. Whatever you need me to do, I'm ready. Just tell me. Okay. One of my main goals is to make sure you are better off money-wise than Jack. We live in a state where you can get a no-fault divorce. I'll help you file online for reasons that don't require blame. If you do it yourself, the filing fee is less than $200. That's the first step. Once you have a printout of your divorce action, the next part is very important and will need you to act well. You can't let those who betrayed you know that you know about their wrongdoings. This strategy will help you get the best financial outcome, and that's what I care about most. I don't want him to use his money to leave you with nothing. But I want to confront him, shout, and call him names. You expect me to just let him walk away? That's what I'm suggesting, Donna, but it's for your own benefit. I want to help you get the best revenge on both of them. But if he finds out that you know, he will quickly protect his own interests, and you could end up with less. Can you handle being strong without letting him know you are in control? I saw many emotions on her face as she took in what I was asking. When her jaw tightened, I noticed her determination grow. Of course I can do that, Micah, so what should I do next? When you're ready, tell Jack that you want a divorce because you no longer love him. Say you are in love with someone else, but you haven't been close with him. Let him know that you would never break your wedding vows. This will surprise Jack and make him feel jealous, wanting to know who this new person is. You must refuse to tell him. That will keep him unaware of our real plan. You're right. That will definitely upset him. But what if he wants to fight the divorce? How can I get him to go along with it? I'm sure he'll resist at first, but once the legal process begins, he can't stop it. The most he might do is ask for counseling, which a kind judge could order. Jack won't like the idea of losing you, especially to someone he doesn't know. He will hire a private investigator to keep watch on you, put cameras in your home, and listen to your phone calls. His obsession will take up all his thoughts, making him forget what really matters, getting him to give you as much money as possible. We both know the investigator will not find anything. The only people you will talk to regularly for support are Cindy and me. Call her to set up a dinner meeting with both of us at a restaurant after work. Do not discuss anything important on the phone with her, just keep it brief. When we all meet, tell us the same things you told Jack, and do not reveal the identity of the man you care about. Jack and Cindy will think you are trying hard to protect your mystery man, but he doesn't even exist. Donna looked at me with warmth in her eyes. I wouldn't say he doesn't exist, she said, putting her hand over mine. I was surprised, but kept quiet about her comment. She then asked, what reason would Jack have to agree to a divorce without a struggle? What would stop him from making it last in court for a long time? Ah, the trick is motivation. This might sound odd, but I suggest you give him a strong reason to agree to an easy divorce, with no alimony. Men going through divorce often try to avoid alimony. It's something they really dislike. It feels like paying their ex to be with other people. If you offer that option, he might be more willing to agree to a better deal. You can say you will not seek alimony if he pays off the rest of the house mortgage, turns the house over to you, and shares half of your savings and other assets. He knows he would probably need to do that anyway. If he agrees to these terms, then you'll drop the alimony request. I am sure he'll be interested. He'll be thinking about the money he could have when he sells those paintings from Cindy's account. Just make sure he understands that this offer is only if he signs the papers for an uncontested divorce, which can be done in about 6 weeks here. But why wouldn't I want alimony, Micah? How does this help me? Think about it this way. What if Jack lost his job? What if he ended up with little money after the divorce? What if something happened and he couldn't pay at all? How would he support you then? This sounds like a part I should definitely avoid knowing too much about. She smiled and winked at me. You are wise beyond your years, my dear. I laughed. Let me help you out. Give me your phone, and I will show you the link to the online site for legal divorce filings. You won't need a lawyer if everything goes right, which means more money in your pocket. You can call me anytime from your office phone if you need help with the forms or any other legal questions. If he asks you why you chose this path when you give him the divorce papers, just tell him you didn't trust me to represent you because of my friendship with him. He'll think it's silly. But don't worry, I'll make sure you don't make any mistakes. Just as you were there for me when I needed help, I want you to know you can count on me, Donna. You have my promise. I leaned closer and kissed her on the cheek, then wiped her tears away. About last night, I continued. I didn't want to go to that gathering. I have no desire to see Jack again, so I made up a reason to skip it. If Cindy insists on more meetups before you serve Jack the divorce papers, you might want to pretend you feel unwell or come up with some other excuse to avoid letting them grow closer. Oh, don't worry. I plan to start on these forms as soon as I get back to work. I hope to give him the papers this weekend if I can. Trust me, I don't want to be around those two any longer than you do. Good. I'll keep speaking with Cindy until it's the right time for me to serve her too. If I did it too soon, it would look strange that you and I are both divorcing at the same time, making them suspicious of me. We need to avoid that for now. If they both lose their homes at once, it might just bring them closer together. We'd rather let them feel some of our pain. I couldn't agree more. Donna gave me a quick kiss on the lips. Thank you for being a better friend than my husband and your wife. I would struggle to handle all of this alone. Knowing you are supporting me gives me the strength to go through with the plan you've laid out. I might lean on you a bit along the way. Whatever you need, Donna, just ask. We then returned to our offices. On Friday after work, I could tell Cindy wanted to talk. Welcome home, dear. I wanted to ask if you're any closer to restarting our life together. My therapist thinks that this will help me heal faster. Isn't that what you want? It's not that I don't want to. I've been trying to get past the many difficult memories I have from what I saw. Our relationship has felt different since you came back. You're not the same person I married. I'm a better person now than before. Maybe someone else thinks that, but it doesn't feel the same to me. Please be patient and give me some more time. I'm really trying, okay? Okay, she said, sounding a bit defeated. I'll do what I can to help move things along. Would you like me to be comfortable in the house to lift your mood? I'm afraid that might not help and could backfire. I just need some time, Cindy. All right, I understand. While we wait, I'll order pizza and sandwiches for us tonight if that's okay. Maybe if we spend more time together as a couple, it will help you feel better. Can I also call Donna about the 4 of us going out again on Saturday evening? You missed the last time with them, and I really enjoy being with them. It's the only bright spot I have left. I'm not really in the mood for pizza tonight. How about we go to a nice restaurant for a lovely meal together instead? I wanted to spend less time alone with her at home. I handle things better in public. That sounds good. What about tomorrow evening with the Calishers? That works for me. I'm looking forward to it. Oh, I almost forgot. My doctor thinks it's a good time for me to return to work. He believes it will help me feel better emotionally. Do you mind if I start teaching my art class again on Monday? Actually, I think it's a great idea. You've been stuck at home too long. It's time to get back into things. She smiled and went upstairs to change. Cindy came back in about 15 minutes ready to go out to eat. I called Donna quickly. She'll check with Jack, but she didn't see why not. So we're all set for tomorrow with them. Great. Now that's settled. Why don't we visit that Italian place you love? I was sure Donna would find a way to cancel unless Jack said otherwise. I drove slowly, took my time with my meal, and chatted with Cindy about light topics like politics, the weather, her art, and anything else to pass the time. I think she appreciated that we avoided serious topics for a change. After returning home, I took a shower and got ready for bed. I made sure to keep the video on my phone locked in case she or anyone else got curious. If anyone asked, I'd say it was a private file for a client I was helping. On Saturday evening, just before we were about to leave to meet the Calishers, Jack called. Apparently, Donna was feeling unwell and needed some medicine. He apologized for canceling, saying she wanted him close in case she needed anything from the store. I was glad she was keeping her promise. Cindy was disappointed but understood. We decided to catch a movie and go out to eat since we were already dressed. Luckily, those simple activities filled our entire evening. I was really curious about what was happening at the Calisher house. After trying several times, I finally found Cindy's hidden phone. She had it tucked away in a shoebox at the back of her closet while she was getting ready for a night out. I guessed she wanted to look nice for Jack. To me, it didn't matter if they had been texting or calling. Given that Jack might have been kicked out of his place this weekend, I didn't want him to reach out to Cindy easily. I decided to disable the phone by putting it in the microwave. It sparked a lot for 10 seconds, which meant it wouldn't turn on again. Feeling relieved, I put it back where I found it. I knew Jack wouldn't risk calling Cindy on her regular phone, and he wouldn't want to upset me during his tough time at home. I figured he'd have to wait before contacting her. On Sunday evening at 6:45, my phone rang. It was Jack asking if Cindy and I could meet him at Cracker Barrel for dinner at 7:15. Of course, I said yes. He was already there, looking nervous and upset. He greeted Cindy with a hug and shook my hand, thanking us for coming on such short notice. "That's what friends are for, Jack. I see Donna isn't with you. Is she still feeling unwell?" Jack looked down, sadness written all over his face. "That's why I wanted to see you both. You two are my best friends, and I really need your support right now. You were there for me when Cindy was taken. Whatever you need, I'm here for you. What's going on, Jack?" Tears filled his eyes, and it seemed like he had been crying. "It's about Donna. She left me. She asked for a divorce this weekend. I was completely shocked. I had no idea she felt this way. Something must have happened while I was away." "Divorce? Donna? Are you serious? How can this be? What did she say?" He hesitated. "She said she fell for another man. I talked to her, pleaded with her, but she wouldn't tell me who. That's why I called you guys. Micah, she visited you a lot when I was gone. Did she mention anything about another man? Maybe a co-worker or a friend she talked about a lot? I'm really struggling. I don't want to lose her. She means the world to me. I wish this was just a bad dream." I closed my eyes for a moment, trying to think back to our past conversations. As I think back, she never talked about other guys with me. She made me some meals and watched TV with me like a friend. Then she left. I asked her to stay over some weekends to make things easier for her, but she didn't want to spend even one night at my place. Could it be that she was seeing someone else? That thought really surprises me. "What about you, Cindy?" he asked quickly. "You and Micah are her best friends. Has she mentioned any other men that might help us understand what's going on with her?" I wish I knew, Jack, I really do. The only guy she talked about this year was Micah, and it wasn't positive. She was hurt and upset with him after that dance accident. Since I got back, she hasn't said anything about other men. I'm just as shocked as Micah is. I promise I'm not hiding anything from you. He looked into her eyes and saw she was being honest. She said she hasn't been with him yet, that she wouldn't break her vows, but it seems she's very much in love with another guy, and I have no idea who that could be. She told me to pack some bags and leave. Right now I'm staying in the hotel room of our firm. The managing partner said I could use it for a week or two. I should find a place to live soon. I'm really sorry to hear this, Jack. We are both shocked this is happening. We didn't know there was another man in her life. Did you ask her about going to counseling to work on your marriage? Yes, I did. But she completely refused. She says she doesn't love me anymore, that the feelings she had for me are gone. She says it's not me, it's her. I don't get it. I want to have a family with her and grow old together. She doesn't want what I want anymore. Well, she might not want counseling, but I can ask a judge friend of mine to make her go. That's my last chance. Otherwise, I could be single again in 6 weeks, he said, looking upset. Are you serious? You're saying she has already given you divorce papers? It's a tough blow, right? She had everything ready and brought it to me herself. If I didn't sign the papers today, she said she would ask for a large amount in support. She might not get that much if we went to court, but it would make starting over impossible with that payment to consider. So yeah, I signed the papers today. She won't get anything this way. I had to look out for myself. I'm just hoping that the counseling sessions will help her realize the truth before it's too late. Cindy and I are here for you, Jack. You can rely on us. Is there anything we can do? Thanks for your support, man. I'm planning to hire a private investigator to follow her and find out who this person is that has caught her attention. It might help if you two seem to be on her side rather than mine. On her side? Yes. I hope she talks to one or both of you like she has with me. If she reaches out, be kind, spend time with her, and see what you can learn. Try to find out about this person who has affected my marriage. Don't mention that we've met or that I've asked you to gather information for me. Make her feel comfortable and enjoy some time together. Maybe after relaxing and having a good time, she'll share who this person is. That's what I really want, his name. Cindy and I exchanged glances and nodded. We'll do our best for you. If she doesn't call us, we'll reach out to her. You both are great friends, thank you. We left him in a better mood as we drove home. Cindy seemed deep in thought. Eventually, she spoke up. Honey, I'm really surprised about Donna's choice to divorce Jack. She never mentioned to me that she was unhappy. As far as I know, he has always been a good husband. Do you think there's anything, even a small thing, he did to upset her? I could sense that Cindy was digging for information. I knew she and Jack wanted to figure out if Donna or I suspected anything. Not at all. Jack is my best friend, and I've always supported him just as he has supported me. He was really there for me when you were gone. Donna might not have told me about another man because she knows how close Jack and I are. It will be tough to convince her that I'm on her side. She might trust you more than me, especially after our last interaction. She smiled and asked, Micah, do you have any thoughts about leaving or divorcing me? After hearing about Jack's situation, I'm worried because you haven't been intimate with me yet, and maybe it's because you're considering ending things too. What? How could you think that? Jack said Donna fell in love with someone else, but no one knows who or why. While you were away, my only concern was bringing you home safely. I admit that watching hour after hour of you with them and knowing you're having your attacker's child has really affected me emotionally. I felt so tense during that tough time, it's taking me a while to relax again. Just because I'm not as lively as I was before your ordeal, don't think that what happened to you makes me want to leave you. I'm not like Donna, and you're completely innocent, just like Jack is. Please don't worry about that. I said this to comfort her. She smiled widely and seemed to feel better. On Monday morning, I got a call from Donna at my office. Thank goodness. I've been so eager to talk to you after such a difficult weekend. Did Jack reach out to you? It's nice to hear from you too. Yes, he joined us for dinner last night and caught us up. How did it go? Did he give you a hard time when you told him? Oh yes, he was quite upset. He shouted and complained more than ever before. I've never seen him so angry. He came close to losing his temper, and for a moment, I thought he might do something regrettable. He didn't take the news well at all. He doesn't handle rejection, especially from me. But I did what you advised. You were right about him. He was so worried about money that he agreed to give me a house without a mortgage and half of our savings. He signed the divorce papers Saturday night before I had a chance to change my mind about support. I didn't mention their affair at all. I won't lie, it was a tough journey, but I'm through the worst of it now. You did really well, Donna. I'm proud of you, and I'm still here to support you, even if Jack and Cindy think I'm on Jack's side. As I suspected, he wanted Cindy and me to find out about your new boyfriend. I pretended not to know anything. He wants us to take you out, get you relaxed, and hope you'll tell us who he is. This plan is really getting to him. If Cindy reaches out to you, say you're too busy to talk on the phone, but try to set up a meeting with both of us when you can. We will play along perfectly. Hey, I have another idea. What is it? She asked. I shared my idea over the phone, and she thought it was a good plan. I told her that I was trying to keep their suspicions away from me as the one they were curious about, and using my idea might help with that. It was better to keep our conversations professional for now in case Cindy checks my phone records. I was relieved that I had turned off Cindy's spare phone. That way, she was surprised to learn about their divorce in front of me. Jack's contact with Cindy would also be through work, which made it hard for him to reach her through the school phone system. Frustrating them was one of my small goals. I don't mind if they end up together, I just don't want to make it too easy for them. Cindy was waiting for me when I got home after her first day back at school. I asked her first, "How was your first day back?" I can't express how wonderful it was to return to a job I love. The kids welcomed me back. The other teachers didn't ask any uncomfortable questions about my time away, though I'm sure they talked about it a lot when I wasn't there. I believe it. It was news for several days. I'm happy to hear you had a good day back at work. Me too. Have you heard from Donna? Not a word. What about you? Not exactly. During my lunch break, I called her to share my good news about returning to work today. She said she wanted to meet with both of us for dinner on Wednesday evening. I asked her to come here, but she wanted to go out instead. If you're okay with that, I told her we would meet her at 7 o'clock. I can't think of any conflicts. That sounds good. Maybe we can ask her about Jack. Did she say anything when you talked? We only had a quick chat. She was busy with work. I think she is keeping herself busy to distract from everything that happened. We'll see what she says on Wednesday. That sounds like a plan. To keep my plan on track, when Cindy joined me on the couch each night to watch TV, I held her hand and let her rest her head on my shoulder. I avoided her kisses, but I think she appreciated my small gestures. They seemed like steps in the right direction. If Jack was able to talk to her during the day, they would likely avoid any romantic meetings as they try to figure things out. Getting into trouble now would make things worse for both of us at this delicate time in our relationships. On Wednesday evening, the three of us were together as friends again. Donna looked great in her stylish pencil skirt. Cindy and I tried to act naturally, aiming to build trust with Donna. Cindy ordered wine, but Donna only drank tea. Since we couldn't offer her anything stronger, we focused on showing our support for her as a close friend. As the evening went on, Cindy started asking some indirect questions about her boyfriend. Donna was ready to tease a little, as we discussed before, without revealing too much. We wanted to keep Jack and Cindy off balance and away from focusing on us. Our main goal was to ensure they didn't find out that we knew about their relationship, at least for now. Donna started, "It's so nice to know that both of you are on my side. Jack can be very difficult when he wants to be. I'm glad he's not trying to ruin our friendship. We girls need to support each other, Donna. Both Micah and I are here for you. Don't worry, we won't pressure you to share who the new guy is. But is there anything about him you can tell us? What kind of person is he? What does he look like? Have we met him before?" "It's interesting you ask that," Donna laughed. "What kind of person is he? He is the kindest and most caring gentleman I have ever known. He always puts what his partner needs before his own desires. I don't think I have ever met anyone like him. As for what he looks like, believe it or not, you have seen him, Cindy. You just didn't realize it at that moment." "When was that?" "One day, right before you faced a terrible experience, you went out for lunch with some teacher friends at the family diner. I can't remember the exact day, but I do recall you wore that turquoise top and black skirt. I remember because I was there with him, too. I sat facing away from you, so you probably didn't see me. He was sitting across from me, so he must have been right in front of you. I didn't know you were there until I saw you in the restroom. I felt nervous about explaining who he was if you had come over. Luckily, you were busy with your friends and didn't notice me. Do you remember that day at the diner, Cindy?" Cindy tilted her head, trying to remember. "I remember going out that day with Brenda and Valerie. Yes, I had on that outfit. I'm trying to picture it, but I'm struggling. Let me help jog your memory. He has dark hair, and even though he isn't of Asian descent, he has some features that resemble that." Cindy squeezed her eyes shut, trying to think hard. "I might have a vague memory of seeing him, but it's fuzzy. Any more clues?" Donna chuckled. "That's all I'll share for now. Once Jack and I are officially divorced, I can't wait for you to meet him. I think you'll be just as taken with him as I was when we first met. I didn't plan to fall for him. It just happened over time. As for Jack, we have counseling sessions 3 times a week for 2 weeks. He's hoping I will reconsider the divorce, but that won't happen. I don't wish any bad feelings toward him. I just don't love him anymore. I hope he can recover from this soon." Cindy excused herself to go to the restroom. When Donna was out of earshot, we had a quick chat. Donna joked, Thanks for telling me about the diner and her outfit. I think she believed our story. I think so too. That's one of her favorite work outfits, so it makes your made-up story sound believable. She and Jack will be sure that your mystery man is real and will look for him. There's a man sitting behind you who has been glancing your way a lot. He might be trying to see who you are meeting. Of course, Cindy and I are expected to be with you sometimes. You're doing great, Donna. I hope you can manage during the counseling sessions. Oh, don't worry about me. I'm so tired of him that nothing he says can make me want to stop this divorce. That's good to hear. As I said before, feel free to call me at work anytime. You're not alone in this, Donna. She smiled and nodded as Cindy returned to our table. The evening wrapped up soon after. On the way home, Cindy seemed deep in thought. She was trying to piece together what she truly believed she saw at lunch. She asked if I minded her calling Jack to update him on tonight's meeting with Donna. I told her to use my phone. She put him on speaker so I could hear both sides of the call. She filled him in on everything Donna shared with us. She did her best to describe the man she thought she saw that day. It was about as vague as it could get. Still, Jack felt hopeful about our findings and was eager to keep looking for the mysterious man. Donna laughed every time she got into her car. She felt like she was being followed and thought it was funny. In the evenings, she would go to a different hotel. But instead of meeting anyone, she enjoyed eating alone at the hotel restaurant. She was playing a game with them. She disliked going to the required counseling. At each session, she said the bare minimum. The counselor urged her to be open to reconciliation, but she didn't care what the counselor thought. After 3 sessions, Jack realized Donna was fixed on wanting a divorce, even without giving a solid reason for their marriage ending. She wouldn't talk about her new interest. After the 3rd unhelpful session, the counselor suggested stopping, noting that her unwillingness to compromise showed they could not resolve their differences. Jack was heartbroken by this news. He couldn't understand her sudden distance. He knew he had been unfaithful, but thought neither Donna nor Micah had any idea. If the police still couldn't figure out the kidnapping case, then Donna and Micah should also be unaware. Jack invited Cindy to lunch on a weekday. Aren't you worried someone will see us and tell Donna or Micah? Not anymore, Cindy. Donna seems determined to divorce me without telling me why. I can't figure out what's going on with her. As for Micah, he knows you and I are checking on Donna for him. He wouldn't think anything odd about us having lunch to talk about it. You're right, as always, she replied. Speaking of Micah, he still sleeps in the extra room and hasn't been close to me since I came back. We hold hands and kiss on the cheek now, but I'm really frustrated. I've tried everything to get him interested, but he has this stubborn way of thinking that keeps him from getting close to me again. You promised you would help him understand his place with us. So far, that hasn't happened. Don't worry, I have a plan to help Micah see me as the stronger one. Oh? What will you do? You still invite your 10-year-old niece Jenny over sometimes, right? Yes, but with everything happening, I haven't seen her since I came back. Tell your sister you want to take Jenny out for a day by the lake. They have canoes to rent. Plan to have her for the whole day. Okay, but why? What's that got to do with Micah? Here's the plan. You'll get Micah to take you and Jenny canoeing for a fun day. Then you'll suggest he invite me along as a friend for support while I handle things with Donna. You and Jenny will be in one canoe and Micah and I will be in another. None of us can swim. I'll arrange for the rental guy to say he only has one life jacket left. You'll insist that Jenny gets it. As I remember, Jenny is comfortable in the water as long as she has something to help her float, right? Yes. If she's in a life jacket or has something to hold on to, she's perfectly fine in the water. Great! That's what I thought. We'll paddle out on the lake, far from the swimming area where the lifeguard is. You can give Jenny some money to play a prank on her Uncle Micah. When I signal, Jenny will act like she sees something in the water, lose her balance, and fall out. You'll scream as she pretends to struggle. Micah and I will be close by. I'll look him right in the eye, and when I see the fear on his face, I'll jump in to help Jenny. I know her life jacket will keep us both safe. Here's a rewritten version of the text that simplifies the language and removes inappropriate content. I'll be brave and help us get to the nearest canoe where Jenny can be pulled in and saved, Jack said. He added, if I save her, everyone will see that I'm better than Micah. It will show him he couldn't save your niece while I did. Everyone will know I'm the hero. Micah will understand that I am the better one. Even though I can't swim either, I took action to help her. This will put him in his place. He will start to think that you deserve someone better than he is. Little by little, we will help him see that. I believe I can make him understand quickly, Jack said proudly. Cindy smiled, excited about things going as Jack planned. She called her sister and asked if she could drop Jenny off early on Saturday. Jack made a deal with the rental guy, and Cindy made a game with her niece, pretending to be in danger to tease Uncle Micah as a joke. Everything was set up. The four of them took canoes, with Jack and Micah following the girls' canoe to the other side of the lake. They joked and splashed each other, having a good time. Then, Jenny pretended to fall into the lake from her canoe. But things went wrong. When Jenny jumped, it pushed Cindy's canoe a bit far away. As Jenny leaped, she put her arms up like kids do, but her life jacket wasn't on tight. It popped open during her jump, and as she fell into the water, the life jacket flew off and landed far from her. Jack and Micah paddled hard to get to Jenny, who was now calling for help. When they got closer, Jenny went under the water. Cindy screamed for help, her fear real and urgent. Jack and Micah exchanged worried looks, knowing they couldn't swim. Jack was surprised the life jacket had come off. Just then, Micah dove into the lake close to where Jenny had gone under. Jack and Cindy were shocked, worried that both Jenny and Micah were in danger. Across the lake, the lifeguard at the swimming area heard the loud cries from Cindy. She and her helper climbed into their small boat, started the engine, and headed toward the commotion as fast as they could. Cindy and Jack were scanning the water for signs of anyone in trouble. Suddenly, Jenny's head broke the surface. She cried out, waving her arms for help. Just then, something unexpected happened. Jenny became calm. Cindy called out to her niece, asking what was going on. "I'm okay," Jenny reassured them. "Uncle Micah is with me. He's holding my feet and helping me stay up. I can breathe now. He saved me," she sobbed with relief. "Uncle Micah is saving my life." At that moment, the lifeguard arrived in her boat. "Grab her hands," she shouted to her helper. "Pull her onto the boat. Take her to shore right away and wait for me." She looked closely into the water, trying to spot the man. She saw a shape sinking below. "Not today! Not on my watch!" she yelled, diving into the water and reaching for the still figure at the bottom. She seized his wrist and pulled him up using all her strength. She swam with all her energy, bringing the man closer to shore, knowing she couldn't help him until he was on dry land. Her assistant had already taken Jenny to safety. Cindy and Jack paddled furiously over, ready to help if they could. As they neared the shore, she shouted, "Help me get him out quickly! We need to move fast!" Her assistant, a strong boy, lifted both the lifeguard and Micah out of the water and onto the beach. "Call 911, she commanded. "Someone call 911. We need an ambulance right away." Jack immediately followed her orders, contacting emergency services and urging them to send help. The lifeguard then turned Micah onto his side to let out water from his lungs. A lot of water came out, and she quickly turned him onto his back to start CPR. This was her first real rescue, and she was determined to do it right. She carefully gave him breaths and pushed on his chest hard. She loudly asked Jenny, thinking he might be her father, "What's his name?" "Micah, Uncle Micah," Jenny answered softly. At that moment, she understood that her uncle had bravely given his life to save hers. "Micah?" she called out as she pressed firmly on his chest. "I'm Gwen, and I won't let you go today. Do you hear me, Micah? Fight! Fight with all you've got! Don't you give up, okay?" She yelled at the man who lay still. She pressed harder, wanting to keep his heart going. She heard a crack but didn't care. If he wasn't alive, he wouldn't notice anyway. She continued to give him breaths, hoping to revive him. Just before the 2-minute mark, Micah coughed, pushing out water and air. I opened my eyes and coughed again, trying to get rid of the water in my lungs. "Sir?" the worried young woman asked. "What's your name? Do you remember?" I was puzzled as to why she was asking that now. Then I realized she was checking if I was aware. "Micah. Micah Albright, miss. Thank you for saving me." "You don't owe me anything, sir. It's my job. Honestly, you just made my day. This is my first time doing CPR for real, and you're making me look good," she said with a smile. As I tried to sit up, the pain in my ribs hit me hard. She said, "Please stay flat, Micah. Your ribs need rest. Kevin, cover him with that blanket. He might go into shock, and we can't let him get cold." The young man quickly did what she asked. After checking I was all right and that my pain was from cracked ribs, she had to ask, "Micah, can't you swim?" No, ma'am. It's a skill I've never learned, but I might change that soon. I don't understand, she said. You're either the bravest person I've ever met, or the most reckless, and I can't tell which right now. If you can't swim, why did you jump in knowing you might drown? That's easy, I replied. My niece was in trouble and needed help. She just needed a few moments until help arrived. If I could give my life for hers, it felt worth it. I couldn't think of a reason not to help her. There was a moment of shocked silence after I spoke. Cindy embraced Jenny, who was crying. Cindy started to cry too, both relieved that I was brought back and surprised that my selfless act had taken everyone by surprise. In that moment, she realized Jack didn't really know me as well as he thought. Ironically, this was all Jack's plan, yet he hadn't even gotten wet. He would have let Jenny struggle and called it an unfortunate accident. Cindy started to think hard about her relationships with both Micah and Jack. Her respect for her husband had grown a lot. Jack didn't have much to say. The family praised Micah as a hero, and his story along with the lifeguards was shown on local TV. The next day, Jack got a call at his office from his biggest new client on the West Coast. The client was facing a lawsuit and insisted that Jack personally defend them. They refused to work with anyone else. Jack realized this could take 2 or 3 weeks of his time. He had no choice but to go. He packed a suitcase and flew west to protect what he had built. It worked out because Donna was stubborn and would not listen to him. Since they had met, she had always gone along with what he wanted. He thought he had complete control over her. Clearly, he was wrong. After finishing his work on the West Coast, Jack returned to his apartment 3 weeks later, just 2 days before his divorce would be finalized. That difficult Friday in court, Jack made one last plea for them to reconcile. The judge saw no hope for that with Donna. She remained firm in her decisions. The judge, with a heavy heart, decided their marriage was officially over. It was done. Donna hurried out of the courtroom, wanting to avoid another unpleasant meeting. Despite all his efforts, Jack could never find out who Donna was seeing now. It was too late for him to change things. She was free to be with anyone she wanted. With his marriage now completely over, Jack thought about what to do next. He decided that Cindy would be his new partner. He felt a sense of ownership over her, and she looked up to him. She agreed to have his child. They both said they cared for each other, even though Micah was not giving her what she needed. If Micah didn't want her, Jack thought he would help her find happiness. Micah had always been his best friend in college. He knew that taking Cindy from him would end their friendship for good. Was it worth the risk? Absolutely. Jack decided to meet with Cindy the following week and talk to her about leaving Micah for a better future. He felt guilty about leaving Micah alone, but would rather have Micah feel sad than himself. Maybe he and Cindy could find Micah some new dates to help him move on. After his divorce hearing, Jack chose not to go back to work that day. Feeling upset, he knew he wouldn't be helpful anyway. He went to a sports bar where he could watch a game, enjoy a good meal, and forget his troubles for a while before heading back to his empty apartment. It was 11 p.m. when he finally unlocked his door at the end of a tough day. Once inside, he locked the door, tossed his keys on a table, and walked in darkness toward his bedroom. Suddenly, a light came on, revealing 2 large men sitting on his couch. "Hello there, young man," one of them said. "What are you doing in my apartment? I don't have any hidden money if you're trying to rob me," he replied firmly. Jack noticed that everything in his apartment was a mess, as if it had been searched thoroughly. The intruders laughed. "We don't care about your money, Mr. Kalisher. I'm Hector. We're not here to steal from you." "Then what do you want? I'm just an ordinary person. You must be in the wrong place," he protested. Hector took out a gun and pointed it at Jack. "As long as you do exactly as we say, you will not be harmed. If you resist, you may find yourself in a lot of trouble." He then ordered, "Turn on your computer and open your email, now." Jack quickly did as he was told, unsure of what they wanted from him. He thought cooperating would be his best chance to stay safe. He knew both men could easily overpower him if needed. He hoped they would leave once they got what they wanted. Once he opened his email, he was given a typed message. "Copy this exactly in an email to all the partners at your law firm and to every employee. Do you understand?" Jack nodded and started typing. To all partners and employees of A, B, and C Law LLP, after successfully opening our new West Coast office and my recent divorce, I need some time to recover. I know this is very last minute, but I've decided to take a month off. I plan to travel a lot and won't be reachable during this time. I'm leaving my phone behind at home. Please arrange my work as you see fit. I apologize for the sudden notice, but I need to take care of myself. I will miss you all while I'm away and hope to return refreshed. Thank you for understanding, Jack Callisher. After the man checked the email for accuracy and confirmed it would go to the right people, he told Jack to press send. Jack's hands were shaking as he did so, feeling anxious about what would happen next. The man then asked, "Are your utilities covered in your apartment rent?" "Yes, I'm on a month-to-month lease and utilities are included," Jack replied. "Go online and pay next month's rent with your credit card. Go ahead," he instructed. Jack knew a little Spanish and understood that muchacho meant boy. He felt belittled by the way they spoke to him. He paid the rent for next month right away. Jack was smart. He knew that sending an email to his co-workers and paying his rent in advance would help explain his unexpected absence and why he wouldn't be reachable for a month, even if it was very unlike him. "Okay, I've done what you asked. Can I go now?" "Go? No way, buddy. You haven't taken your break yet. We have big plans for you." They watched TV until late at night. Finally, at 2 a.m., one of the men went outside to check for anyone watching. When he came back, the three of them quietly walked out to the parking lot. Jack locked his apartment door with his keys. He was still dressed the same way. He had his wallet and keys, but nothing else. He was told to stay quiet, or he would regret it, so he stayed silent. They walked to a plain white van in the parking lot. When they got there, the side door opened quietly for them to get in. Inside, Jack saw Anthony, his paralegal, tied up and unable to speak. Heavy-duty ties were used on his wrists and ankles. Jack was treated the same way as the van headed to an unknown place. A month earlier, Cindy went to her first doctor's appointment alone because she was early in her pregnancy. The doctor talked to her about the importance of vitamins, diet, and exercise for a healthy baby. At her second appointment, she urgently wanted me to come because she would get her first ultrasound. It was very important to her that I connect with her baby. I didn't want to be involved with the child from her affair. That's how I saw it. But since I hadn't filed for divorce yet, I felt I had to act like a caring husband. So I went with her. I smiled and pretended to be happy about the news. I think I did a good job of making her feel better. On Saturday afternoon, Cindy got a call from Donna asking to meet at a restaurant to catch up. She looked great and seemed very happy. "Thanks for meeting me tonight. I haven't felt this happy in a long time. In case you haven't heard, my divorce from Jack was finalized yesterday. I'm single now." Cindy was shocked. Like Jack, she had hoped for a last-minute change of heart. He had told her that he cared about both of them. If that was true, how could the divorce really happen? She didn't know how to deal with this unexpected news. Cindy felt uneasy about the possible end of their group outings. How could Jack suggest swapping partners if they were no longer a foursome? She decided to focus on her friend Donna instead. "Okay, Donna, we've been friends for a long time. Micah and I have been really patient about your secret boyfriend. Where is this new guy you like? Will he be coming tonight? We're eager to meet him." Donna smiled widely. "He and I talked about it, and we both think it's best to keep our relationship low-key for now. I just got my divorce yesterday, and we want to take things slow so people don't start talking. Thank you, Cindy, for being understanding. Can you wait a little longer? Is that too much to ask?" "Of course not," Cindy replied, feeling a bit frustrated. She wanted to find out what Jack wanted to know, but Donna was keeping quiet. Even though Donna invited them out, she insisted on paying for dinner. They had a fun evening laughing together, but it felt different without one partner there. Deep down, both Donna and Cindy felt relieved that one troublesome person was out of the picture. Donna didn't mention him again that night, and Cindy hoped to do away with the feelings tied to her own situation as well. Once they got home, Cindy made her intentions clear. "Micah, it's been too long since we've been close. You have needs, and so do I. We're still married, and I've been back from my ordeal for almost 3 months. You're a hero, and I want to show you how much that means to me. It hurts when you push me away. I need you to be the husband I deserve." Okay, let's talk about where we are in our marriage, if that's all right with you. Sure, go ahead. Do you still groom yourself for another man even though I don't want you to? Yes, but that doesn't matter since you haven't even been near me since I got back. All right then. Next question. Can I take that necklace off you? I can't remove it. It's something I hold dear. And does that mean another man still has a claim over you that is stronger than our marriage? Donna hesitated at the question, but eventually answered softly. Yes. As your husband, I understand I have my issues with intimacy, but you have to see why. You groom yourself for someone else, and you wear a symbol of your bond with him openly. You remind me that he has control over you and my feelings come second. You ask me to be close to you just because he told you to. I watched those videos of you with him. I no longer believe you were hurt, not from the start. And you expect me to accept all of this and share love with someone who says she belongs to another? That is something every husband wants to hear, right? I'm amazed at all the progress you've made with your therapist, I said with an edge of sarcasm. Cindy wisely looked away but then shot back. If you can't take care of my needs, maybe I'll have to find someone else. Oh, really? Are you going to meet a stranger just to be with someone? Maybe not a stranger. Jack is single now. I plan to visit him and spend some time together. If he's willing, I might let him meet my needs. I acted shocked. Jack, my best friend. If he gets close to you, I'll know our friendship means nothing. You two will ruin our marriage and my long friendship with him with just one move. She didn't answer but went straight to her room. On Sunday afternoon after lunch, she grabbed an overnight bag and headed to her car. I don't know when I'll be back. Don't wait for me. I don't think you care. But if you get close to Jack or any other man, I will start divorce plans immediately. Don't worry about me. I'll be looking for the best divorce lawyer while you're gone. She just smirked at me, believing Jack would beat anyone I could find to help me, then drove off. At 1 a.m., Cindy came in dragging her suitcase. She tried to be quiet but woke me up. Was it what you expected? I asked playfully. With concern, she replied, He's not home. I knocked on his door many times, but he didn't answer. His car is there, but I never saw him. I waited all day and night. Maybe he went out with friends. Do you know where he might be? Have you heard from Jack? Not exactly, I said, but indirectly I have. What do you mean? I handed her a printout of Jack's email sent to everyone in the firm. While I was looking for a divorce lawyer, I saw an email pop up. His divorce must have hit him harder than we realized. He didn't say anything to me. Did he tell you where he might be? She looked genuinely shocked, unable to believe Jack would take a month off without telling her. I have no idea, Micah. This is just as surprising for me as it is for you. Does that mean you had to go to the bar to find someone? How dare you? She replied sharply. Just so you know, I waited in the car all night for Jack to come back. I didn't go anywhere except to grab a quick bite to eat. I guess that leaves us both feeling empty. We both went to sleep in our separate rooms again that night. The next day, a courier brought a letter for Cindy at the school where she taught art. He asked her to sign for it right there. When she opened it, she felt a mix of shock and fear. The letter looked a lot like one sent to Micah during her kidnapping. Mrs. Albright, my friends and I are holding Jack Kalisher and his assistant for a while. We've been interested in him for months. He is safe for now, but how long that lasts is up to you. If you meet our demands completely, they will be returned without harm. We plan to keep Jack and his assistant, Anthony, busy for at least 1 month. This note cannot be traced. The only fingerprints on it are yours. Do not go to the police. If you do, or if you don't follow our instructions closely, we will double their time with us to at least 2 months. We will know if you contact law enforcement. We have connections. Inside the envelope, you'll find a USB drive. It has a program from the dark web. Plug it into your computer and turn it on. It will confirm that the computer is yours and not the police's. Trust me, it can tell the difference. It will create a link on your desktop to access a cloud account. Then it will erase itself. It is for one-time use only. Don't risk wasting it by involving the police. Once Jack and Anthony have fulfilled our needs, we will upload video summaries of our time with them to the cloud account. You are to use the link to watch every moment of each video carefully. We need you to pay close attention to Jack and count how many genuine reactions you think each person has in each video. The next day, you must post that number on Facebook without any additional comment. If the count is 0, just post a 0. No one else will know what it means except us. Watch him closely and don't miss anything. If you guess wrong, their time with us will double. Mrs. Albright, your help with this is very important to us. If you defy us, you may never see him again. More instructions will come in the videos. We request a total of $50,000 for their safe return. Jack mentioned that you might be the best person to help with his situation. Until we get the money, we plan to keep him in our sights. Act normally at work and around others, especially your husband and Jack's ex-wife. They must never know about this. It would cause Jack great embarrassment if they found out. Don't change your routine or spend extra time away from home or work. If you do, we will notice. What happens to him is in your hands. Cindy needed to sit down to keep from feeling overwhelmed. Was this why Jack had not come home yesterday? Was this some sort of cruel joke? Jack and Anthony were involved in her situation. Who wrote the note? Who else was part of this? Who are the people being mentioned? Where is Jack right now? Had Micah or Donna figured out what was going on, and are they now part of this? She wouldn't know until she saw the first video. She needed to keep her usual appearance. Taking a deep breath, she headed back to her class. Later at home, Micah seemed unaware of her trouble. He wasn't acting suspicious or giving any hints. If he was involved, he was certainly good at hiding it. She noticed nothing odd about him. Even though she felt frustrated with Micah over his reluctance to be close with her, she knew she needed to keep her marriage strong for now. She followed the instructions from the note and accessed the link. It showed her how to send $50,000 to a foreign account. She couldn't do it online, so she planned to visit the bank the next day. She figured the amount was what Jack suggested as something she could manage without raising suspicion. Even though parting with such a large sum was hard, she would do anything to help Jack. She decided to check the account regularly. The next morning, Donna called from her office, and they agreed to meet for lunch. "Hi, Micah. Thanks for meeting me today. I hope this doesn't disrupt any plans you have." "Hi, Donna. It's always nice to hear from you. I'd be happy to meet up, just the two of us." "That's good. How are things with Cindy?" "Not much has changed. She visited Jack over the weekend and waited for him for a long time. If he had been there, I'm sure they would have gotten close again. I think she's losing patience with me. I'm still planning to end things with her when the time is right." "Jack wasn't there. What a pity," she pretended to care. "When do you think will be the right time to make that decision?" She asked curiously, "What's going on?" "Justice is already in motion," he replied. "We're just in the calm before the storm. It won't be long now. I can't share all the details, as we both need to keep some distance from what's happening." She smiled. "All right, I won't press for details now, but one day I hope you'll tell me everything." "I will, Donna. Seeing you today brightens my mood. When this is all behind us, I'll be reaching out to you. I know you're free to choose anyone, but I'd like to be at the top of that list." Donna grinned and said, "In case you haven't noticed, I only have eyes for you." They clasped hands and shared a warm moment before continuing their meal. They promised to stay in touch. Later, Cindy discreetly transferred the money during her lunch break, hoping Micah wouldn't notice or ask about it. She reassured herself that he'd shown no interest in it before, and if he did question it, it could suggest his involvement in something. She trusted Jack would repay her once things settled, though she wasn't thrilled about the situation, especially having to watch some of Jack's personal activities. When Cindy got home earlier than Micah, thanks to her work schedule, she hurried to her room and checked her laptop for updates. A message appeared, thanking her for the transfer. Now she just had to complete the task of counting interactions in the video. Unlike Micah's task, she was expected to count what others experienced during their encounters with Jack. The footage that followed shocked her. In the video, Jack was in a large room, surrounded by a group of men. Cindy watched in disbelief as the scene unfolded, each man taking part in the ongoing situation. It was unsettling to see, but Jack acted as if he was fine with it, despite the uncomfortable reality. Cindy found it hard to stomach, realizing how deep Jack had gotten involved. Though she knew he was pretending, it didn't make it easier to watch. She turned off the video, feeling unsettled by the whole ordeal. She counted 32 instances in total where Jack had been humiliated and mistreated. This was far from how he had behaved with her, and it troubled her deeply. She wept, knowing the suffering he had already endured and the fact that it was going to continue. The entire ordeal was in a language she didn't understand, with the men speaking only Spanish. Later, she learned that some of what they said had been crude and degrading. Cindy posted the required 2-digit number on her Facebook account, hoping that Micah wouldn't see it or ask about it. As far as she knew, he rarely checked Facebook. When Micah came home later than usual, she was finishing dinner. Trying to avoid any suspicion, she quickly explained, "I was in the mood for spaghetti, but we didn't have everything, so I ran to the store to grab the ingredients. Dinner will be ready in about 5 minutes." Micah accepted her explanation without question, saying the food smelled great before going to change out of his work clothes. He had no idea that she had spent a large part of the afternoon watching Jack's video. She was relieved that he was home and that they would be having dinner together, something they didn't often do. She kept quiet about Jack's situation, the money she had sent, and the disturbing video she had just seen. Instead, Micah talked about his work, sharing details about his cases, but made no mention of Jack. The next day, another video appeared. The opening screen described what would happen next. Jack and another man, Anthony, had been instructed to stay in a specific position for 12 hours, and the one who could outperform the other would receive a better meal the following day. The one who didn't succeed would only receive water. In the following scene, the two men were lying on a bed side by side. It was uncomfortable for Cindy to watch, but the split screen showed their competition clearly. In the center was a wide shot of the two men, and on the left and right there were close-ups of their attempts. Cindy could tell that Anthony was the first to react, and soon after Jack responded as well. Watching this was overwhelming for her, but she knew she had to keep going. She turned off the video, unable to bear more. Cindy watched the videos every day, but each one disturbed her more than the last. The footage was edited to show only the most significant parts, leaving her unable to skip or fast forward through any scenes. What she saw of Jack was overwhelming. He was constantly surrounded by a gang of men, treated as their servant, and made to follow their commands. Each day brought the same routine, and Cindy was forced to witness it all. Jack's role was clear, and it became harder for her to see him as the strong, dominant figure she once thought he was. In the videos, Jack never seemed to resist. He did everything the bikers asked of him, and Cindy couldn't help but count the number of times he had to submit. Week after week, this went on, and it began to break Cindy down emotionally. She no longer recognized the man she once called her master. The daily experience was draining her, and she started feeling disconnected from Jack altogether. As the weeks passed, Cindy noticed the situation growing even worse. More people joined in, and Jack's ordeal only intensified. It was hard for her to process, and the stress of it all left her counting the days until it would finally be over. She hoped that her calculations were right, and that Jack's suffering would end soon. Cindy wasn't sure how much longer she could keep watching without losing herself in the process. One day, Cindy heard one of the bikers speaking to Jack off camera. It was clear that Jack had no choice in the situation, and the details of his past seemed irrelevant to the men controlling him now. They had already searched his place, finding nothing of interest. This dark chapter weighed heavily on Cindy as the end of the 30 days approached. But now, Anthony has mentioned that you have recordings of the two of you with a woman he described in detail. Why didn't my men find those tapes when they searched your place? We want to see what he was talking about. And remember, if you lie, things will get much worse for you. So tell me, where are those recordings? They're in a safe deposit box in my hometown bank, Jack replied. Good. Use that laptop over there to fill out a form to add someone to your safe deposit box account. Once the form is printed, my friend will sign it in front of a notary and send it to your bank. After that, I'll send someone to collect the recording so we can have a look. Cindy found herself questioning everything about her life. She once believed Jack had been reluctant to go along with what was happening, but now she wasn't so sure. He seemed to accept his situation without much resistance. In her eyes, he wasn't the man she had known before, the one she had devoted herself to. That version of Jack didn't exist anymore. Cindy realized that even if he came back, she could never see him the same way. The memories of what she had witnessed would never leave her, and they would always cloud her feelings about him. This led her to make a difficult decision about her future. When I came home from work, Cindy had made a special dinner. She had prepared all my favorite dishes and she was dressed beautifully. It reminded me of how things used to be between us. "What's the occasion?" I asked, surprised by the gesture. "It's not my birthday." "Can't a wife do something nice for her husband without a reason?" She smiled. "Normally, yes, but please, Micah," she cut me off gently. "I put a lot of effort into this. Let's just enjoy dinner. There's something I want to talk about afterward, but I'd rather we not have that conversation on an empty stomach." I was curious, but agreed. "All right. Let me wash my hands. I'll be right back." The meal was incredible. Cindy had really gone all out. Afterward, I even helped her clean up, something I hadn't done in a long time. She seemed grateful for the help, and once everything was tidied up, we went to the den to sit down. I could see she had something important to say. "Micah," she began, "I've been thinking a lot about everything that's happened since that incident. My therapist has helped me understand how I've changed and how I've treated you since I came back. I'm sorry for the hurtful things I've said that have affected our relationship. You made it clear that our marriage took a back seat to your past relationships. What you learned from those experiences means nothing to me and does not help our love or marriage. In fact, it has made things worse," I replied. "Micah, I'm glad to say that this is not how I feel anymore. My therapist has helped me overcome my past feelings. I no longer feel attached to that person. I believe in your support and love. I want us to return to what we were before all this happened. Can we go back to that? Will you let me be the wife I used to be? I've changed for the better thanks to my therapist." "This is a welcome change. I appreciate your apology. It's the first one I've ever received from you. Are you sure you want things to go back to how they were before, though?" "Yes, I'm completely sure." "Completely sure, huh?" "Absolutely. You deserve that. I'm curious about how this applies to everything else in our relationship. Are you planning to keep things the same as before?" She looked me in the eye and said, "I won't change unless you ask me to." "I see. And what about your past? I thought that was forever." "My therapist helped me realize that I am no longer bound to that past. If you'll have me, I will give myself fully to you." "Interesting. And what about your necklace, the one that has special meaning to you?" She stood and removed everything but the necklace, showing me a sign of her commitment. "I wear it because it means something significant to me. It's a reminder of my past commitment. I can't take it off because it requires my former partner's decision, but what I'm saying is that I want to give myself to you in a way I've never done before. I want you to accept my full commitment. You are now the only person I want to have the authority to change this symbol around my neck." "I understand. So, you're saying you want me to replace it with something that represents our connection?" "Not exactly those words, but yes, that's the idea. You've certainly given me a lot to think about. And how long is this offer good for?" She looked a bit shy. "I hope you'll accept my proposal right now. But since you are the one in charge, you can take your time to think about it. My offer is open until I hear from you." "Get dressed, Cindy. I'm not ready to talk about this now. I'll think about what you said. Until I decide, things will stay the same between us." "Yes, sir," she replied softly. "I hope you see the value in my offer. I am here for you if you want me." She quietly got up, picked up her dress, and left the room. I was surprised by what had just happened. I wondered if it was really her therapist who had influenced her, as she mentioned, or if it was something else. Since she did not explain any specific insights from her therapy sessions, I found her claim a bit hard to believe. It felt more like she was saying what I wanted to hear. I was in no hurry to respond to her offer. She wanted me to accept a new way of relating to her, which I found ironic because she also said she wanted things to go back to normal. I was not ready for a change in our relationship at that time. 3 days later, I received a package in the mail. I didn't know who sent it. Cindy had left it on the table for me. We usually do not open each other's mail unless we ask. I took it to my room and opened it. "Metro Police Department. How can I help you?" "Good morning. My name is Micah Albright. Can I speak to Detective Cassandra Jennings, please?" "One moment. I will connect you." Detective Jennings. "Hi. This is Micah Albright." "Yes, Micah, I remember you. I'm sorry, but there have not been any new updates on your wife's case. I should have called you, but it has been very busy lately." "That's okay, Cassandra. I called to see if you would be interested in new information that could really help the case. Of course. Has something changed? Yes, you could say that. I got a package in the mail that has evidence that could help solve this case and allow you to go for indictments. I can't tell you where it came from since there is no return address. What kind of evidence are you talking about, Micah? Can we set a time for me to come to your office today? I would prefer to show you what I have instead of explaining it over the phone. Sure. It's 8:30 a.m. now. I need some time to finish my reports. Would 10 a.m. work for you? That sounds great. I'll see you then. I took the day off work so I could meet with the detective. I arrived 15 minutes early and didn't have to wait long for her. All right, Micah. What is this new evidence you were talking about on the phone? I handed her the opened envelope and started to explain. This is the package I got in the mail. It has a USB flash drive with 256 GB of space. It holds nearly 6 hours of recorded video from when my wife, Cindy, was said to be kidnapped. The videos are quite revealing. They show conversations between Cindy and the people who took her. It turns out she wasn't kidnapped at all. She went with my best friend Jack and his paralegal, Anthony. They used his work on a new project out west as an excuse. Jack wanted me to see the recordings to get me to consider swapping partners. It's all there in clear detail. You'll also find some edited clips that were shared online. Only the people involved would have had access to those recordings. Wow! You've messed up this evidence. I wish you had called me when you first had doubts. I used rubber gloves and only touched the edges carefully. I made a backup for my own records. If you have your team check the USB, I think you'll find Jack's fingerprints on it and also Anthony's from when he filmed everything. He returned from the West Coast to post the videos to mislead the investigation. If I remember correctly, wasn't Jack the one who told you to involve the police? Yes, but that was to steer attention away from himself. He thought I would keep him busy with work. Wow! And you say all this evidence was sent to you without a name? That's right, Cassandra. You've heard the saying, the enemy of my enemy is my friend? It seems Jack had some people against him who wanted the truth out. Do you think there's enough to charge the three of them? I'll definitely talk to Jack's wife. She might have some role in this. Ex-wife Donna. She left him before he went on vacation. I may not know everything, but I don't think she is involved. She is just as much a victim as I am. If what you say is true, this changes everything. How so, Cassandra? Well, it changes the whole situation. Kidnapping is a serious crime, and we've been building our case on that. If your evidence shows there was no real kidnapping, just a trick, then the charges would be less serious. They could only be charged with planning a fake kidnapping, which would lower it to a misdemeanor. The most they could get is a year, according to the current rules. Falsely reporting an incident is a serious crime. It can lead to up to a year in jail and fines of up to $6,000. The police department can also sue for the costs related to the false case. Just a year in prison? That's correct. Recently, a mother from Northern California named Sherry Papini was sentenced to 18 months in prison for a fake kidnapping that caused a lot of media attention and a large search effort. In reality, she spent less than a year in jail. She had claimed she was out for a jog near her home, leaving her phone behind. Instead, she had her ex-boyfriend drive her 600 miles south to his place. She showed up 3 weeks later on Thanksgiving Day, claiming to have been kidnapped by 2 women. It took investigators years to find out the truth as they looked for the people she said had taken her. A key piece of DNA evidence helped reveal her story. When she returned, investigators found DNA on her clothes that belonged to a relative of her ex-boyfriend. When they found him, he admitted to helping her hurt herself to make her story seem real before leaving her by the road. She denied lying until the day she was sentenced. After this, her husband filed for divorce. I think I heard about that on the news, so it's not that big of a deal. It might be more serious, Micah. The district attorney can take action on wire fraud, which is a federal crime. If someone uses the internet to commit fraud, they can face 10 to 20 years in prison. They used computers to post videos for harassment, so it could be a strong case. But we need to review everything before making a decision. Before I give you this evidence, I want your promise that Cindy will not be sued for any money if there's a trial. She can face legal charges, but I don't want her to have to pay for the work your police department put into this case. Jack and Anthony can be sued all you want, but if Cindy is sued, it will really hurt me financially. If you can't agree to that, I will keep this evidence and your case will stay unsolved. I'll make a call to the district attorney, she said. She went to another office for about 10 minutes and I didn't hear what they talked about. When she came back, she was smiling. You have a tentative deal, Micah. You will need to give my department about a week to look over the evidence you brought me. The district attorney says that if everything checks out, he will prepare the agreement. Like I said, please give us about a week. I will take you at your word, Cassandra. You can start working on this if you want. She smiled and took the evidence to her team for review. When she returned after handing everything off, she asked me another question. Do you know where I can find the three of them if I get the go-ahead to pick them up? It's interesting that you ask. Jack sent a message to the whole company about 3 weeks ago saying he was taking a month off. He should be back in about a week. I haven't seen or heard from Anthony since Jack announced his leave. I don't know where he is. Cindy is back to teaching her art class at the high school, so you can find her there during the week, or she should be at home. She noted my comments and thanked me. Cassandra's team might be busy for a while. Jack suddenly woke up in familiar surroundings. He was back in his apartment. Did this mean his terrible ordeal was finally over? He looked beside him, and Anthony was still asleep next to him. Jack realized he was not wearing any clothes under the sheets. He remembered getting another injection in his neck, and then everything went dark. They must have taken them both back home. He shook Anthony to wake him up. Jack saw his wallet and keys on the bedside table. He felt overjoyed at his newfound freedom. Then, there was a knock at the door. He quickly got out of bed, found a robe in the closet, and answered the door. It was the police. Mr. Callisher? Are you Jack Callisher? Yes, officer. How can I help you? Just then, a still drowsy Anthony walked up behind Jack to see who was at the door. Sir, is your name Anthony Toller? The officer asked him. Yes, sir. What's going on, Jack? Anthony said. Gentlemen, please put on some clothes. My partner and I will take you both down to the station to answer some questions. I'm a lawyer and I know my rights. We're not going anywhere right now. We just got back in town. What's this about anyway? We have warrants for your arrests, both of you. I must insist that you come with us now. If you wish to go downtown without clothes, that is your choice. Confused, Jack replied, Please come in, officers. Thank you. We will get dressed quickly and go with you. I have no idea what this is about. Once they were fingerprinted and booked, they learned that both were charged with serious wire fraud and falsely reporting a crime. As he was being processed, Jack noticed a woman nearby who was complaining loudly. Her name was Cindy, and he learned later that while she avoided a serious charge, she was still facing a minor charge for reporting false information. The three of them spent the night in custody, waiting for their hearing the next morning. Thanks to Jack's connections, they were soon out on bail after being formally charged. They were told not to leave the state until their court date, which was set for 4 weeks later. Jack was frustrated, especially since he was about to take on a key role in opening the West Coast office of the law firm he had worked so hard to build. After they pleaded not guilty, the judge allowed Jack to start his job on the condition that he would return for the hearing. The next day, Anthony returned to the firm only to discover that he had been fired because he hadn't followed the proper procedure to inform them about his absence. Jack decided to have an attorney from his firm represent the three of them. This attorney was also preparing for the move to the West Coast as the second in command of the new office. As their lawyer, he requested all the evidence from the district attorney. It then came to light that someone had sent copies of videos to Micah, revealing Jack's and Anthony's involvement with Cindy during their month-long relationship. Jack suspected that Donna and Micah now knew what had happened. He didn't think they had the resources to execute such a complicated plan. He felt that Micah might be behind it, but he needed proof. He wanted to find someone responsible for his kidnapping, but lacked the evidence to back up any claims. His captors had never mentioned Micah or Donna at any time. Jack left the case to his dedicated attorney and headed to the West Coast to begin his role as a partner in the new office. He knew he was innocent until proven otherwise. Feeling sympathetic towards Anthony, he offered him a job as a paralegal for the West Coast operations. However, Anthony wasn't permitted by the judge to leave the state until after the hearing. Jack reassured both Cindy and Anthony that the charges would likely result in a minor punishment or a second chance when they went before the judge. He wanted to avoid running into Micah. What could he possibly say to his best friend? He didn't regret wanting to be with Micah's wife or their plans together. He still suspected that Micah might have played a role in his kidnapping and decided to involve a private investigator to look into it further. Micah was trying to figure out who could have set everything in motion. He knew he didn't have that kind of influence. Jack felt embarrassed about where he had been and what he had been doing over the past month. Tests showed he had 2 different infections and was getting treated, but thankfully, neither was serious. Cindy was realizing that depending on Jack was a big mistake. All the plans and promises he had made fell apart. She wanted to save her marriage, but she knew Micah took loyalty seriously. Jack was already divorced from Donna. She thought that if things with Micah didn't work out, maybe Jack could be her only option after the hearing. After spending a night in a holding cell, she returned home, getting ready to face Micah. He wouldn't be home until later, so she spent the afternoon making a list of things she might take if he asked her to leave. For dinner, she decided to make breakfast foods: eggs, sausage, bacon, and toast. If Micah had already eaten, she could enjoy the leftovers. As she prepared the meal, I wandered into the kitchen, drawn by the smell. "I'm sorry for everything, Micah," she said sadly. "You deserve better than what I've done. I know I shouldn't ask for forgiveness right now. This has gone horribly wrong, and I'm ashamed that I let Jack lead me down this path." In a calm voice, I replied, "At least I finally got an apology. You're right, Cindy. Forgiveness isn't possible for now. I don't want this negativity to last forever, so I'll find a way to let it go." Feeling defeated, Cindy suggested, "If you haven't eaten, why don't you join me? I promise it's safe." We ate in silence, the meal marking an unofficial end to our marriage. After dinner, I helped her clean the kitchen, and then we moved to the living room. "I plan to have you served at school tomorrow during your break, so no students will see it," she said. "I guess I should expect that," I replied. "I won't hide. Depending on how the hearing goes, I might lose my job anyway." "Well, if that happens, you still have that money from selling your paintings to help you until you find something new," I said jokingly. She looked surprised, realizing I didn't know she had used that money to help Jack. I decided not to share everything I knew just yet, or how I came to know it. "When is your hearing?" I asked. "In a little over 3 weeks. What do you think we should do until then?" Jack replied. "I can be understanding. Things can stay as they are until then, but please try to avoid me. There's no reason for us to talk much moving forward. You do your thing and I'll do mine. Until your hearing, gather the items you want to keep from your room." With that, our marriage fell apart without any noise. Over the next 3 weeks, Jack spent his days at the new West Coast office, organizing client information and making sure responses to calls were faster. He boosted the office's spirit and helped improve profits. Each night, Jack FaceTimed with Cindy, assuring her that nothing serious would come from the upcoming court hearing, just a small punishment and maybe some community service. With Jack's divorce behind him and Cindy's on the way, they rebuilt their love. Cindy wished she could be with him, but the judge didn't allow her to leave the state until the hearing. The feeling of being apart was hard for both of them. Jack's private investigator hadn't found any links between his and Anthony's situation that pointed to Micah or Donna. Both were innocent. Jack couldn't understand who might have sent the troubling video evidence with Cindy to Micah. He also questioned why the Mexican bikers would be interested in such videos. The only thought he had was that they might want to post them online for money. The investigator mentioned that Donna and Micah were seen having meals together, but that wasn't surprising since they were both dealing with being cheated on. Donna's new partner had still not been found. Jack's main reason for finding him was to confront him about taking his wife. Time moved quickly for Jack, but dragged for Cindy and Anthony. As the 3 weeks leading up to the hearing went by, they worried about what would happen, even with Jack's bright outlook. He promised Cindy that after the hearing, he would bring her to the West Coast, where they could start a new life together. After losing her husband's love, that sounded very appealing to her. On the day of the hearing, Jack felt sure about the result. The 3 people involved were seated at the same table sharing legal representation. Donna and I sat together in the courtroom, ready to be witnesses. I shared that it was Jack who insisted I contact the police and report the kidnapping, showing his involvement in the false crime reporting. It turns out that working as a court-appointed attorney helps you make good connections in the legal system over time. One such friend was the assistant district attorney. Knowing the details of the case had caused problems for his friend's marriage, he pursued the three individuals with determination. Jack's lawyer was unprepared for the intensity of the attacks against his clients. Every defense he suggested was quickly dismissed by the judge. Jack now wondered if he should have chosen a jury trial instead. Although he had a good relationship with the judge, the strong evidence presented by the ADA was impossible to ignore. All three were found guilty. Jack, seen as the leader, was convicted of serious fraud and for creating a false note related to the case. He received a 20-year sentence. Anthony was also found guilty on the same charges, but since he had been influenced by Jack, received a shorter 12-year sentence. Cindy was not involved in the serious charges, but did participate in the lesser charges and was given a 1-year sentence and a $5,000 fine. The judge, knowing about our ongoing divorce, ordered that her fine should be paid from her assets after we split our property. This was to make sure I would not have to cover the costs for her actions. I planned to send a bottle of wine to the judge as a thank you. Of course, there would be an appeal, but the ADA promised me that the outcome would remain the same. The three of them were taken into custody right away. Jack was placed in a secure room. Donna and I entered and saw that he was handcuffed to the table. Donna and I shared a kiss in front of Jack, who looked very upset. "What are you two doing here? And you, Donna? Aren't you worried your new boyfriend will get jealous?" Jack said angrily. "The saddest thing about betrayal, Jack, is that it never comes from your enemies. You took my wife, and I took yours. I'm here to tell you that you made a bad choice. Donna is so much better than Cindy," I replied. You? You are with her? I should have guessed. "I'll get Donna back when I'm out of here," he shot back. "There's no way I will ever be with you again, Jack," Donna replied firmly. "So you just came here to show off, is that it?" "No, Jack. I came here hoping you might appreciate what has happened." "Appreciate? Appreciate what?" he responded angrily. "Well, knowing you might be in prison for a while, I thought about how you would spend your time. I hear that you might get to learn how to really connect with others. That skill could be useful during your time away," I said with a chuckle. "I knew it was you. You'll pay for this, I promise." "No, Jack, not me. You already paid for it. The $50,000 you gave Cindy as compensation was used to pay your friends to train you. Every bit of it came from your own money, and I'm sure they made sure you got your money's worth." Jack realized he had helped cause his own problems. "But how did you set this all up?" "Jack, I can't tell you all my secrets. Just know that feelings like anger, fear, and hope motivated me. By the way, the partners at our law firm have decided to cut ties with you because of your felony conviction. You will also lose your license to practice law, now and forever. Good luck getting it back. I won't be there to help you next time. One more thing, my lawyer is going to sue you for me and get every last dollar he can find. He says I'll get at least 75% of what you have left. Think of it as a gift for my wedding with Donna. Yes, she has agreed to marry me and I couldn't be happier. On the bright side, at least you won't have to pay alimony." "That was some of the best advice Micah ever gave me," Donna added. "You wouldn't have been able to pay it from prison anyway." "And your soon-to-be ex-wife was his best advice?" Jack scoffed. "Yes, leaving you to marry him. I want to give him a family," she said. Understanding dawned on Jack. Everything clicked into place. This was a planned response. Micah and Donna had joined forces and outsmarted him. The results of his choices were heavy. Leaving Jack in his despair, we decided not to visit Cindy again. I thought I had nothing more to say to her, but I was mistaken. The ADA informed me that Cindy wanted to talk before I left, so we agreed to see her. We were taken to a different room. She was not restrained, but a deputy was close by. "Thanks for meeting with me, Mike. Oh, you brought Donna. I'd like to speak privately." "Donna, could you step out?" Cindy asked gently. "Cindy, everything I thought I knew about you and our marriage now feels outdated. Whatever you want to say, you can share it in front of my fiancé. We're engaged, and once my divorce is final, we will get married. Don't expect an invitation." Cindy looked stunned, her face showing surprise. She forced a small smile. "Donna, You're amazing. I've always admired how you carry yourself. You're getting a good man, the best I've ever known. I didn't realize until it was too late that he would do anything for the people he loves. Cindy started to cry as she looked me in the eyes. I can't lose you, Micah. I replied with some sarcasm. Don't sell yourself short, Cindy. You've already shown you can. But first, please answer my question. Why, Cindy? Does it really matter? She asked. Maybe it shows my weaknesses, but I think it does. Don't you think I've wondered why 1,000 times? The closest answer I have is that I was suffocating in a routine I didn't like. Jack offered me a chance for excitement, a chance for something different. It caught my attention in ways I never thought possible. The main idea was for the four of us to switch partners. We tried it on the night of the tango, but that didn't go well. After that, Jack came up with another plan to make it happen. I told him you would resist, but he believed you could be convinced if we did things the right way. Donna couldn't make it work, Esmeralda couldn't, and I couldn't either. I'm so sorry, Micah, I was wrong. If I could go back in time. Okay, Cindy, I see now. You were bored and fell for his tempting offer. But remember, I saw everything that happened between you two. No, you didn't, she replied, her voice flat. We had our moments alone many times away from your sight. You only saw what he wanted you to see. As Alexander Hamilton once said, those who stand for nothing fall for everything. We need to focus. What was it that you wanted to talk about? I asked, feeling flustered. She looked down at the table and spoke earnestly. Even though I realize we won't stay married, I was hoping we could still be friends, the three of us, she said, glancing at Donna. Donna quickly responded, I didn't decide to end our friendship lightly, Cindy. I did it with a lot of thought. Cindy ignored Donna's comment and continued, As you both know, I'm going to have Jack's baby. I will give birth while I'm in prison. I was hoping, no, I'm begging both of you to take care of my child until I get out. It will only be for a few months. I promise I will repay you any way I can, she pleaded. Donna looked at me and we shared a knowing glance. I'm sorry, Cindy. I say this with all my heart. It's not that we don't care about an innocent baby. We just don't feel we owe you or Jack anything after how this happened, especially after knowing you were with someone who I once called my best friend, expecting me to raise another man's child. Maybe you should reach out to Jack's family, since it's his baby, or perhaps your sister. Oh, that's right, she cut all ties with you after finding out that you had used her daughter in a dangerous scheme on the lake in an attempt to embarrass me. If Jack's family won't take your child, there's always the option of adoption or the foster care system. I believe Jack may have encouraged you to ask for our help, hoping it would make us feel connected to the child and keep some form of relationship with you after you've paid your dues. But now, you have the relationship with us that you've earned none. Both Donna and I wish to never hear from you again, Cindy. Through her tears, Cindy handed me a USB flash drive. Between sobs, she said, I know I've lost you, Micah. It won't hurt to just listen to this. We left her to face her own problems. As we drove away from the courthouse, Donna's curiosity got the better of her. She asked for the drive, so I pulled it out of my pocket and gave it to her. She plugged it into the car's sound system, and only one file was on it. The song Nothing Compares to You by Sinead O'Connor began to play. I wasn't moved. I saw it as Cindy's last attempt to sway me, but it didn't work. Later on the edge of town, I met with a man at a small Mexican bar and restaurant. It was my first time there, and I didn't plan on going back. A well-dressed man in an expensive suit slid into the booth across from me. It's good to see you again, my friend, Miguel Lascano said. The food here isn't great, but their tequila is the best. So are we even now? He asked. I shook his hand, showing my respect. Miguel, we're more than even. It was nothing. When you called in your favor, I was happy to help. Your idea of involving a certain group was quite creative. If someone had done to me what Jack did to you, I'd have dealt with them long ago. The extra money you threw in really motivated them to give their full attention to the task. It went exactly as planned, Miguel. My wife went through the same emotional pain I did when she betrayed me. Jack and Anthony learned lessons that will stay with them for the rest of their lives. Jack lost his wife, his job, and he's going to spend a long time in prison. And my lawyer took most of what he had left. I prefer this kind of revenge. It lasts longer. He'll have plenty of time to think about what he did. Ah, yes, his wife. Congratulations on your engagement to the former Mrs. Calisher. I'm sorry I couldn't attend your wedding, but it's better if people don't connect us. Still, I have a parting gift. It seems that the bikers uploaded some of the recordings they made with Jack and Anthony onto several websites. There's quite a bit of footage available. Here's a bundle of $50,000 in cash. Think of it as a thank you for suggesting the skilled actors. The bikers will earn much more than that over time. This is a surprise, Miguel. Please thank your partners for me. Donna and I will use it wisely. But won't this support Jack's claims and help him find the bikers who were involved? Don't worry, my friend. The bikers had both men sign forms that allowed them to use and share the videos publicly. Jack and Anthony each also own a small part of the business making money from those videos, with small amounts going into their bank accounts. This takes away any chances they have of claiming they were taken against their will. You know, Micah, I could use a sharp lawyer like you. I'd pay you well for your help with me and my associates, Miguel said. As tempting as your offer is, I've been given the title of partner at my law firm because of Jack's actions against my family. They need me to lead our new office on the West Coast. Donna and I will be moving there soon. I might still help out on some cases for free now and then, but I believe this is a great step for my career. I wish you the best, Micah. My son thanks you for your generous support. I've kept him safe from any issues, and he's now doing well running one of my honest businesses. I'm happy for both of you. Please send him my good wishes for the future. During our divorce, Cindy was entitled to half of our shared assets. I placed all our furniture in storage for her, wanting to remove any reminders of our time together. The house was sold, and her share went into her account. Her sister kept her car until she was free from prison. We made it clear to Cindy that she should not contact us again. Later, Donna heard from friends back east that Cindy had started working as a waitress after completing her sentence. I often wondered how she was managing as a single mother. After my divorce from Cindy was finalized, 3 months later, Donna and I had a beautiful wedding and celebrated our new life together on our honeymoon in Maui. During this time, our belongings were being moved across the country to our new home in California. I was advised to stay out of the way and let her handle things. Donna was incredible when she was in her element. Her great taste helped as she decorated our new home in a style that reflected both of us. I found myself loving her more each day. My new favorite old song was by Classics The Four called Every Day With You, Girl. The song I loved to play for Donna was Coldplay's Yellow. As time went by, our love blessed us with 3 wonderful children, 2 girls and a boy. They brought so much joy to our lives. I had never felt happier. While Donna might not have looked like Cindy, she offered something much more valuable to our relationship. We both felt we had made the best choices for ourselves. It turned out that we never lost our best friend in each other. Hey everyone! Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you won't miss any of the exciting stories we have coming up. What do you think about the characters in this story? Let us know in the comments. We'd love to hear from you.